Welcome to Pre-Batch. Today we're speaking with Kate Gerwin. Kate was the first female bartender to win a global cocktail competition. She's been listed numerous times on the top 100 most influential people in our industry. Her distillery bar in Albuquerque won Best New US Cocktail Bar and Best Bar Team at Spirited Awards. She was a consultant on Bar Rescue, and a lot of people will know her as a finalist on the Netflix show Drink Masters. Today we talk about global cocktail competitions and the effect they have in the industry, reality TV, we talk about draft cocktails, learning from failure, and how to nurture a team. The drinks of the day are Bitter Courage, Cacao Martini, and Oreo Negroni. Kate, welcome to Pre-Batch.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm super excited to talk to you. I've known about you for a while, and I did a little bit of research over the last couple of days.
I'm sorry.
And there's so many things that are really excite me to ask you. So I'm like a kid in a toy shop right now. So we start with like a rough career, and I want to know your background.
Okay.
From where I know you began, which is winemaking. Maybe not began, but I know that's in there.
It is.
So I want to hear a little bit about that, and then your journey, and then I'm going to cut you off and take us on some detours. So
smart move.
Let's go.
I started in hospitality, as we all do. Serving tables. I wanted to be a lawyer. I was a pre-law student. Learned real quickly that probably wasn't my path. And I worked at a restaurant that was focused on wine. I grew up in Napa, and everyone would always say to me, like, you have a great palate. I'm like, whatever that means. Apparently I do have a decent palate. So I got into winemaking. I wanted to be a winemaker. I started teaching about wine. I'm a certified wine educator, sommelier, all those things. And I started learning a lot about taste because I didn't understand how taste worked and why everyone tasted different things. Wrote some classes on taste, got picked up by a culinary school, taught at culinary school for a while, in Arizona and in Vermont, New England Culinary Institute and Scottsdale Culinary Institute, which led to me meeting my ex-husband, who was a chef. We opened a restaurant in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where he was from. By default, Albuquerque wasn't a huge wine town, and people would ask for cocktails. Yeah. So I would go behind the bar and come up with some flavor concoctions I thought would be cool and interesting. Back in the day, Charlotte Voicey was working for Hendrix. Love that woman. Tony Abogana was people would do market visits, and Charlotte came. Some people did some market visits. The next year, we won a hospitality award for our cocktails, and we beat out the Bellagio in Vegas and all these things. And it was kind of I wouldn't say a huge deal, but it was a big thing, spirits hospitality in the U.S.
What year was this, roughly?
2010, I'm going to go for it. 2009, probably 9 or 10.
Yeah, because we're talking different worlds.
Different worlds, yeah. And people were like, you should get into bartending. And the award was given in Napa. I met Charlotte. She's like, have you ever heard of Tales of the Cocktail? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, it's this thing that we do every year, big industry stuff. You should really come. And I was like, I'm in wine. I'm not a bartender. And I ended up going to Tales of the Cocktail, working the William Grant party for Lillet. And I met everybody, and I was like, these are my people. I never really fit in the wine world. Yeah. Male dominated, whatever. Just very more pretentious than I was. Yeah. And I didn't really fit in that world, but I loved it.
You think it's more male dominated than bartending is, or is it?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, back then it was. Maybe not as much now. But yeah, I mean, I felt it. And I was like, these are my people, and this is fun, and everybody's cool. And so I started competing, and I started doing things in the bar world and going to all the events. I'm a little competitive. I won some competitions, got some recognition, and
I can drop your accolade for you if you. Well, I know some of them anyway. I know you're the first female winner of a global cocktail competition, which was Balls Around the World 2014.
Yeah.
What was a competition like back in 2014? I'm trying to think.
So in 2014, so the year before.
Not that long ago.
It's a little over 10 years. Yeah. So it was different than it is now. Back then, Bowls Around the World was like
huge.
The comp. There was that in world class, and that was kind of about it for global comps.
Was there a flair element in that though?
So there wasn't in the comp, but flair was still a lot more relevant. And Bowls obviously is a huge supporter of flair.
Yeah.
And during that competition, they did a whole exhibition with Tomek and Mark. I got to meet those guys. I had been interested in flair. I dabbled and I tried a lot of flair. I didn't do as well as I had hoped. My business partner is a great flair bartender. But I've always had an intensive love and deep respect for what those guys do, because it is the training is like, we're like, oh, I'm studying, and oh, I did like the stuff they do is insane. You
have to be on the spectrum basically to train that much.
8 hours a day minimum, all the time. Flare rooms. Ouch, your body hurt. I mean, I would have bruises on my hands from stalling and flipping, and I'd hit the bottle in my head. And so and then 2014 was kind of like the year. First woman to win a global comp. It was kind of a big deal. It was really cool, and then that enabled me to start traveling, like international travel. Yeah, and that's when my love for bartending became even more intense, because I got to realize different cultures. I got to go to Japan and Australia and Dubai and all of these really cool places that had all these different things going on. And I was like, man, this is like the coolest fucking job I've ever heard of. Yeah. Like, I get to make drinks and travel the world and like throw parties on other people's dimes. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go.
It's such a nice little present that it gives you. Like, I don't know, not that I've had the same experience as you, but to some degree, I understand where you're coming from. It's like, I basically do this thing that I love to do. Yeah. And it's just making drinks for people. And for some reason, people are paying me, they're putting me on flights to go places, and they're paying me like good money to go and talk about what I love to do. It seems mental. And you can tell that it's mental, because when I go and like say like to my dad, he's like, but for bartending.
All the time.
I'm like, yeah.
Like I'll be somewhere and people are like, but you bartend? I'm like, yeah, I know. And the huge one for me is like the people. Yeah. I have friends all over the world that I value and I love. And when you're hosted in cities and people are showing you, the city itself from their point of view, it's one thing when you're a tourist and you Google a city and you're like, what should I do when I'm in Barcelona? And like, right. And there's another thing when your friends are like, come to my city, let me show you. Yeah. And I was hooked. It's like a drug. And I was like, yeah, this is what I do. Yeah. This is it.
And there's bars, I mean, even if you've got no one to show you, like if you're in the bar industry, even with some experience, you're like you go to a few BCBs and Athens Bar Show or whatever, you go to bars all over the world and you like probably meet people or you
I think
across, or they know you.
We recognize game. So like you see someone and they're in hospitality in your bar and you're like, hey, what are you doing in town? You know what? Let me make some recommendations for you. Where do you want to see? And I don't know. I mean, I say it all the time, but I not only do I think we have the best jobs in the world, biased, but industry-wise and people-wise, hospitality people are very empathetic creatures. Mm-hmm. Like, we just recognize and try and fill needs. Yeah. So we have an incredible network, and as big as this world is, our industry is super small.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, empathy is like, I suppose, a pillar of hospitality. It's always what I teach people. Like, empathy is what you need.
That's it.
Like everything else is, I can teach you systems and stuff like. But you need empathy.
When we do interviews, we have several stages, and when they get to me, we do an interview, and I always sit down, and people are like, "Oh, well, I worked here and I worked here." I'm like, "Don't care. Well, I'm actually not going to ask you anything about where you worked. I can teach you how to bartend. That's the least of my concerns. We're just going to sit and talk about life and things. And if I can tell that you're an empathetic, caring person, chances are you're going to get pretty far. And if there's no interaction, chances are you're not going to get any further either." So
Yeah, you can teach skills, but you can't teach the rest. It's very difficult. So tell me from Bowls, that obviously opened a bunch of doors for you. Like, where did you go? Did you do full-time bartending then, or was it like more?
I was a full-time bartender at a high-volume cocktail bar. I use the word cocktail loosely. Red Bull vodkas, Long Island iced teas, sling and booze, high volume. And that's where I worked then. And then I got a lot of consulting opportunities. So I started working for Bar Magic based out of Vegas, Tobin Ellis, former Flair bartender. I did consulting for him for several years, and we just opened bars all over the country. That was really cool because I got to learn a lot about operations, the not so pretty part of bartending and bar ownership. And I got to open bars for other people on their dime and learn what worked and what didn't. Yeah,
that's so valuable.
Yep.
Like, if anyone could have that experience of like opening bars for other people, like getting to have a practice run, rather than jumping in the deep. Yeah, having like 20 practice runs is exactly what you need.
Yeah.
Because even like I think like I was a general manager for many years, and it covers a lot of the learning curve that you need, but it's not the same as ownership. It's not. It's like there's still so much missing.
Permitting and construction and budgets and like floor drains and I mean just things that like you're like okay, like I didn't realize I was gonna need to do that.
The weird shit that that like drains need to drop 2 inches every 3 meters, and you're like these things. You're like but you're gonna have the drop if you do this, and you're speaking to plumbers and stuff. And the bar manager's like, how do you know this shit? And you're like, this is what you need to know, man.
This is absolutely it. And my now business partner actually worked at that high volume club with me, and I pulled him out. He was an engineer major, so he works in CAD. So like now we design everything. Like we were really lucky that our learning curve was the way it was, and we got to kind of like practice on other people and find out what we wanted to do, what we didn't want to do, what worked, what didn't. So.
Yeah, it's so valuable. And for me, it's become something I've got a lot more interested in. It's just, always evolving, always trying to learn new things and design and flow and
if we had more bartenders building bars, we'd have better bodies. For one,
much nicer work environment.
Shoulder, hip, whatever. And I think our bars would probably actually make more money. I would tell people all the time, I'm like, you're wasting revenue generating footprint with this big tall thing in the middle that you think is really pretty, and if you move this 5 feet over, then people can walk over here and the bartenders don't have to move over here. And people would be like, designers and architects would be like, oh, we never thought about that. And I'm like, hey, you've never worked behind a bar. And don't get me wrong, their skills and they're doing all, but like you've never stood here. So you look at a room from an eye of like, what's aesthetic? And I look at a room for like, that's annoying.
Yeah, there's so many. You can feel it behind a bar. Like, I've walked into some shocking bars.
Tell me about it.
I temporarily I can't remember. Was I working there? No, I was working with the guy, but not in the bar. But anyway, he had like this triangle bar, which already horrible. But it was also in the middle of quite a long room, and I'm like, you're gonna get everyone on the peak of that triangle blocking the rest of the room. It's horrible. You're like, you've got a straight room. You have a straight bar. It's mental that you've got this triangle bar. You get so many scenarios like this.
I see things like I don't understand the new bars, the low bars. They drive me bonkers.
Yeah.
And
nowhere to hide.
Well, it's not just nowhere to hide, but everybody's doing this, and they're like reaching across this prep table.
Yeah.
And I watch them all night, and I'm like, is your back hurt? And they're like, yeah, right here. Every person's like, yeah, right here. And I'm like, yeah, it's because we're building prep height table bars. Like, stand up. Let's raise it. Let's be smart about this. But I think, people see things that they think are trendy or cool, and like they're like, oh, that's different. Like we're used to bars that are here, and now we're dropping them down here. I don't know. I see things, and I'm like, did we actually think this through? Or did someone think it was cool?
Yeah. I'll say I'm definitely. I suppose one of the people who definitely thought it's cool and thought about having it, but then in reality, like I'm building a bar right now, and I definitely considered that, and then realized it just wasn't a possibility. Like there's just so little room for stations.
There's little room. It's to me, I'm looking at everything as revenue. Yeah. I went to a bar recently that had this huge, massive concrete slab in the middle, and it's just so much space was wasted that you could generate revenue out of. And there wasn't even space for them to reach across. They have to walk around to serve the guest over here and walk around to serve the guest over here. And I was like, wow, have we lost our touch with efficiency? But
that's like super high concept, going for awards. There's a lot of that baked into it, right?
It is. I think there were some bars that did that. I saw it a lot 10 years ago in Asia. And again, shorter people in Asia in general, right? But I saw it a lot. And then I think it was like, because we're so used to our 42-inch, down the line bar, people were like, oh, well, let's do that. That'll work. It's cool. It's new. It's hip. It's trendy, or it's, whatever. But I don't really think anyone ever put a lot of thought into the long-term effects of working like this. Yeah, because if you watch chefs too, they're chopping and they're doing this, and everyone's hunched. Yeah. But if we bartend, 90-degree angle, up, down. Yeah. Yeah.
I do like the aesthetic of seeing more of the bartender.
Agreed.
Especially, I'm pretty short as well, so like for me, like if the bar's like nipple height for me, I'm like I look like real bad behind this bar, So there's that. But yeah, maybe we're getting too into the weeds too early.
No,
I'm saying like a good height for a bar is like 1 meter 105. Once it hits, I'm speaking.
It's fine. That's all right. We're 44 inches. Yeah, that's our sweet spot. Yeah. We designed our bar. We raised it 44 inches. What we found is the average height for an American standing straight up with their elbows at a 90-degree angle, working right at 90 degrees. And that's kind of what we try and hit. For us, we also don't put speed rails on the front of ice wells because you just push people further away from the bar.
You don't put speed rails on front of ice wells?
No. So, because it's just, so you just now pushed yourself a minimum of 6, and if you have double, 12 inches further from your bar, so now you're reaching forward. Right. So we put our speed rails on the sides.
Right.
So
speed rails, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I was thinking drip trays, but you said speed rails.
Speed rails.
Yeah.
So that you're reaching like this.
Okay.
Instead of reaching like this.
Yeah.
I'm 47. My body is old.
Yeah. You got to look after that body, man.
Yeah, and I just, to me, it's like if I can make things so that other people aren't going to be in as much pain as I am when they get my age, and then it's a win. Yeah,
I don't know if it's a thing in the States, but the thing, well, in the UK, like I'm quite connected to the UK industry, but everything's gone into the freezer. Like, even now the stations that I'm buying now for the new bar, freezer drawers in the station, counter freezers on the back bar, and then like 8 double door massive freezers there just for batches.
It's smart.
Everything's got to go in the freezer now.
Absolutely.
So the speed rail is not. It's become less and less of a thing,
especially with batch drinks and stuff.
And you've got your ice well that you can turn into a speed rail with just dividers in there, so like a lot goes in there, and then very little goes in the speed rail. And I would never do a double speed rail anymore. That's just mental. Like reaching over that.
It's insane.
It's just madness. Yeah. Anyway, I think we've spoken about ergonomics of a bar, but that's like super what I'm into now. I'm so into that.
But isn't it funny how we we're like, did you have the ingredient in this cocktail? And now we're like, did you see that 2 inches could save?
Yeah. That's what you vibe with people. But like, yeah, people need to know that like that is like you are going to change and you are going to evolve, and that you are going to get into that kind of stuff. Especially if you become an owner, because it's so important. People should be into that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to talk about a bit going back to your career progression. Like I want to speak about Bar Rescue. Like, how many episodes did you do?
I did 2 seasons, 4 episodes.
Because I'm so fascinated by John Taffer. You have to tell me, what's John Taffer like?
So he's nicer in person than on the show. Right?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. He's not a bar person.
No,
in my very humble opinion, he has absolutely no clue what he's talking about. For example, the butt funnel. Right? Did you hear about this?
The butt funnel?
Okay, so there's this whole thing he did on this one episode where they had built a dance floor and there was railing around it, and there was this little opening. And the way that he said it on TV was, I created this on purpose because what it does is it makes people, when they have to go in and out of the dance floor, it makes them have to like look at each other as they cross by, and it's the connection. And I call it the butt funnel. And then people were designing bars with butt funnels, literally like a bottleneck where things would happen. Yeah. Well, the behind the scenes story on this, allegedly, is that they built this dance floor in the middle of a bar, and afterwards the city permitters came in and they were like, you have to have a railing around that. Like, duh, people will fall off if they're drunk and drinking. And they put the railing around it, and then there was just a little opening, and they were like, well, that's awkward. Like, now we have this huge 2 areas where like only people can pass here. And they were like, as a show, how do we make this sound like we were smart? And they came up with the butt funnel. Yeah. It was like people have to brush by each other.
Do they really call it the butt funnel?
They did on TV.
My God. I mean, if you say butt funnel to me, that doesn't strike an image of people sexy. Walking past each other.
It's not sexy. I did not enjoy my experience because, you wear these little things called earwigs, and they kind of tell you like, oh, do this, and like yell. And we would do the trainings, and they'd be like, you should yell at that person and tell them they suck. And I'm like, really? I don't talk to people like that. Yeah. Like, that's just not who I am. So, but the good thing from that is the reason I ended up, and I might be going too far, but the reason why I ended up on Drink Masters is because one of the producers from Bar Rescue, who wasn't a producer on Bar Rescue anymore, developed Drink Masters. And I still kept in touch with this person over the 10 years. They reached out to me and they were like, hey, I have a new show coming up. I think you'd be great. I didn't try out or apply for that. They were just like, we think that you would, really do well. And at first I was like, absolutely fucking not a chance I'm going back on TV. Yeah. But I was just opening a new bar. I live in a small market. Like, I'm not dumb. Like,
good call.
Yeah, thanks. I'm not dumb. I talked to my staff about it. My business partner, I was like, we had just opened the bar, like months. I was like, I have to be gone for a while. We have to be prepared for what this, it's not lost on me who I am. I was like, chances are I'm going to be the villain, right? Like, there's always a villain. There's chances are I'm going to say something. So are we prepared for that? Like, are we ready for us to put ourselves out there at this new bar? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. Let's go. And I was like, all right, let's go. Yeah. So.
Nice. Yeah. Well, let's have the drink first. I've got more Bar Rescue questions, but
yes. Cheers.
Do you know what this is?
I do.
Go on.
It's called Bitter Courage. So, kind of sort of funny story. The year I won Bowls Around the World, the year before, I created this drink with Geneva for the same competition. Didn't get in. Went a couple rounds, but didn't get in. And then the next year I did a different drink that won the world finals. Both of those drinks were on like the first couple menus I did. This drink was wildly more successful and stuck around for 12 years, where the other drink was like... competitions are subjective as well. I tell people all the time, like, my drink was good, the one I won with. I'm very smart in the way I attack competitions. I used 3 Bulls products in that drink. this had one. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
If you don't recognize that competitions are for marketing, and you're not angling towards what looks best for the brand, it's going to be really hard to win.
Yeah, for sure.
The drink
Everyone should understand that. It's pretty obvious, but I've judged a lot. And
like I've judged competitions where people have talked about other spirits in the like, and I use this, and it's from this region, and it's this other spirit, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
Don't even call it by brand.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, you just spent 10 minutes talking about another product in a competition and didn't even highlight the you use like a 1/4 ounce of this and 1.5 ounces of this other product and talked about it for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. So what's in the glass?
Originally it was Geneva. We don't carry Geneva at my bar, not because I don't love it, but because we're a distillery and don't make it. Gin, Aperol, it's caipirinha style, salt and pepper and lime. Super simple, easy, crushable. I use this.
It's smashable.
Yeah, we use this at the bar for people who don't. I don't like gin. I don't really like gin. I'm like, cool, try this. Give her a go. The
pepper's so good, man. It's like just rounds everything out because
and again,
spice.
12 years ago, no one used salt and pepper in a drink.
Yeah, that was
or salt. Now everybody's like saline.
Yeah,
but using salt in a drink wasn't a thing.
Yeah, yeah. But all right, to get back to Bar Rescue, just because my memory of it is like. Honestly, like, it's such a guilty pleasure show for me. I'm like, that is not how you do that, but it's so good to watch.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And there are bars that we walked into where I was like, wow, this is how people operate. Yeah,
so, like, what is that like? I mean... Because I guess they really are like trashy bars, and I'm sure there's some people behind the scenes like injecting drama in there, making sure that it's as trashy as it can be.
Drama for sure. I mean, there is absolutely an element of that, and I saw some things where I was like, okay, but as like cleanliness and some of the like mistakes people made, or like when they send the secret shoppers in, that stuff was fairly real. Like, we would go in there and I would see things and just be like, how do people operate like this?
Yeah.
But it happens.
But you see it, man. Honestly, you see it. You can, like, honestly, you can go into a quite mediocre, averagely run place. If you pull the fryer out, you're going to see some dark stuff in even an average place.
First thing when I did consulting even was always open the ice machine. And
black slime. Look for black slime. Yeah, same, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Or you go straight to the air filter and you pull it out and you're like, what's going on here? And they're like, how did you find that? And you're like, I know where to look, man.
And then just like the soda gun, just popping off the top and being like,
black slime.
Yeah. So, I do think, again, there's good and bad for everything. TV is TV. You have to understand it's TV. But the thing that it does for us as an industry is it gives consumers a glimpse into what good bars are and what all of the things that, those of us that care are doing so that they can start recognizing what separates the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
And I think educating consumers is the thing that we've missed out on as a bar industry, the mainstream consumers, so that they understand when they come in what is good and what isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think hopefully it's educated and maybe scared off a few people who would have opened bars that had no business doing it as well, because I do notice, quite often with our industry, I think there's a lot of people who've come into the industry from another industry because it's much easier to make money in another industry.
Absolutely.
And then because you've been in bars and restaurants and you've eaten and drank, you're like, oh, I could do this. And you're like,
it's like
we're making it look easy for you. But it's not easy.
Not.
We're just making it look that way.
I consulted for someone once that, had some money and wanted to open a bar. And I was like, why do you want to do this? Like, why do you want to open a bar? And he's like, I throw house parties and people love them. I throw the best parties. Like, I can't, everybody's always like, when are you gonna have another party? When are you gonna have I just have a knack for it. I think I'd be really good at it. And I'm like, okay, what do you throw, and he's like, oh, my bratwurst, and like everybody's like, when are you gonna have your brat party? And I'm like, cool. So you're gonna make bratwurst every day, over and over, 100 times a day, nonstop. Like, you do it once in a while and people love it. Do you think they're gonna keep coming back if you do it every freaking day? It's amazing how many people think they could be good at what we do, because, well, I go to a lot. That's another one. I go to a lot of bars, and I see a lot of things, and I'm like,
yeah,
cool.
You see 10%.
Yeah, like I went to the doctor's office once. I saw some stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not a fucking doctor.
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, you get a rude awakening.
Yeah.
I even done like, you know, because I've done a couple of consultancies, nothing major, but like I had I remember giving a shopping list to a guy, just like, because it was in, I think it was in Estonia, and I'm here, and I'm like, buy this for me when it arrives, you know, like I'll be there to train your staff, but you don't want to pay me to go shopping for you in your town because I don't know where anything is and I don't speak the language. Get it all, and he gets like 50% of the list, and he's like, "You can just make it work with this."
Right.
And I'm like, "No, I can't. I can't." Like, you know, you don't understand. And then I'm like training, and he's like there drinking at the bar. I'm trying to train his staff, and he's just like sitting there drinking. Oh, this is pretty good. And I'm like, "We need to do this, guys. We need to do this. We need these systems." And he's like, whatever. And I knew like in the moment this is all going to fall apart because you've paid me to come here. You've paid me to train, and it's just.
And then I'm going to leave.
I'm going to leave, and there's no support because you're the boss. Like, I'm like, well, I guess it is what it is. I'm sure you've been through that many times.
A million times.
Yeah.
I always, whenever someone hired me for consulting, I'd say, okay, how much money do you have? How much money do you think it's going to, in like $100,000? I'm like, cool, you need $3. You need $300,000. They'd be like, nah, I don't. And I'm like, if you don't have triple what you think, access, whatever, something like that, like, I don't want to bankrupt you. It's going to cost more. And is it going to cost 3 times as much? Probably not, but it's definitely going to cost more than what you have in your brain. You know, how much time do you have? What are your expectations? Because I need you to understand what the reality of this is. And this industry is tough. What kind of money do you think you're going to make? You know, because the profit margins in a bar are not what everybody thinks.
No.
And how much time do you have? Like, you think you're going to make all this and pay off all your debt in 3 years? It's probably going to take a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, the reality isn't as pretty, but we also make it look good. We're all, you know, we're like, hey, how you doing? Come in the bar. We're having a great time. This is a great place. Isn't this awesome? People are like, I want to do that I want to make money doing what they do.
Yeah. I also, I mean, with budget as well, like if they've got $100,000 and they've budgeted out even if you've budgeted it all out and you're like, yeah, it's going to cost $100,000. It's like, you got money in the bank for afterwards.
Yeah.
Because if people don't turn up immediately and start paying your bills, even a month that's already the $100,000 that you've got left. You know, you need working capital, and that's the number one reason bars go out of business, right? They just don't have time or working capital they just haven't got enough runway to get there.
Yeah.
Just like, and then it all falls apart
all the time.
Yeah. And that's the sad thing. And people have built an amazing bar maybe, and it just never gets chance to
I don't think people, I mean, market research, just trend, everything. There's so much to what we do. And people are like, oh, they just throw parties.
Yeah. So different to parties.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, wouldn't it? So Drink Masters then. You get a call from
I got a call from the
fancy producer buddies.
He's like, hey,
we need you.
He's like, do you want to do this? And I was like, I don't. But let me help you find people. And I gave him a list of people to contact, people I thought would be good, fun on TV, talent. They had a hard time at first getting people on.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of people were like, nah, whatever, like this isn't real, or it's not, you know, or I don't want to do it.
I would have thought you'd reach out to like all the winners of the big comps and just go, you want to do a Netflix show?
The majority of the people that I recommended said no.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Regardless, we get some good peeps on there. They kept asking me, you know, are you sure? And I started really considering it. At one point they said, you know, we'd already picked our judges. Do you want to be a guest judge? And I was talking to the producer one day, and he's like, look, you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You just opened a bar. If you're a guest judge, you're going to be on 1 episode. If you're a competitor, you have the chance to be on 10. Like, do you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, he's right. And it wasn't just for me. Like, okay, we've always been in the restaurant industry, the chefs are the stars, right? Celebrity chef culture. Anthony Bourdain did so much for the industry. He showed people the humanity of chefs, how much they care, what they do, you know, the culture behind who we are. Bartenders have always just been thought of as that interim job while you're trying to do something else. And a lot of us, this is our something else. Like for me, this was my something else. When COVID hit and people were like, what are you going to do? And I was like, I don't want to do anything else. Like, this is it for me. I don't have a pivot. This is it. My hope was that people would watch Drink Masters and see how much we care, how much studying we do on spirits and history and culture. You know, we have to know production methods and all of these different things, all these different brands, flavor profiles, also ingredients, techniques for ingredients, you know, where are these ingredients, how long they stay fresh, how we can use them, how we use sous vide, how we do this, that. I was hoping that people would watch this and be like, damn, they're like chefs, but also they have to be forward facing and they have to smile and hospitality and empathy and all these things. Like, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We're also doing this on the fly at the moment with guests in front of us, evaluating situations, paying attention to safety, music, ambiance, light. Like, I wanted people to see what we do. And I wanted consumers to have more empathy for who we are and what we do. And maybe give us a little shine and respect.
And how much do you think that came across? Do you think that came...
I think for the people who watched it, absolutely.
Yeah. I
have people all the time that stop me and talk to me and will just be like, I had no idea, or I want to be a bartender, or, you know, you'd reach out to me on Instagram. Thank you so much for showing us. This is, you know, what I want to do now. I think the people that watched it got to see an angle that they didn't really realize.
Yeah.
I hope we get more of that.
I think you're right. Like, I obviously watched it from a bartender perspective, having watched many competitions. So for me, it was like, I was watching it with the eye of like, this is another cocktail competition, but with crazy Netflix budget and a lot of art directors and extra stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they were telling like, think outside the glass and do that. And people would ask me, they're like, now, you know, I had a really good friend of mine that was like, I hate you for this. And they own a bar. He's GM of a bar called Nickel City, and they have a bunch in Texas. And he'd be like, do you know how many people have come into the bar asked for fucking caviar? He's like, really? We don't do caviar. He's like, we're a neighborhood, like, and I'm like, I get it, right? No, like, there's a lot of techniques and things that I wouldn't even do in my bar. But here's the thing: if we would have put up 12 brown old fashions, like how fun would that have been on TV?
But that's the same as MasterChef or anything else.
Yeah, like, we had to do things, right? Yeah, we had to do frills and all that stuff, but to keep it interesting for the consumer and make them have fun.
That's like, everything's like, you know, you push it to the absolute limits, and then the industry benefits from a pared down version, right? Just like you see on MasterChef, or you would see in a fashion show, or some of those mental dresses that they do in a fashion show. Yeah, but
people aren't walking down the street. Yeah, exactly.
It's inspiring something that could be more, you know, like it's just pushing the boundaries, so we can see where it goes, and then we work within our confines. But of course, you know, I mean, like, 98% of the drinks on Drink Masters had dry ice or fucking or liquid nitrogen going over it. There's like an art director there just like throwing dry ice at everything.
It was also like, you know, there were certain things like, okay, so we really only had 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And was
that real? Like, so the time frames were pretty much...
Yeah, it was a hard stop.
Yeah, okay.
That's the time that we had. We would get a break 15 minutes before the time was over to go reset before we had to make the drink.
Yeah, okay.
You know, kind of like we would go off, but we weren't allowed to do anything during those breaks. We'd usually eat lunch and come back and then refilm. But we had 90 minutes, and this was one of the things, like, so there was a huge learning curve. First season, you know, these producers they didn't know about drinks. So there were some things, like at one point they were like, hey, we bought all these dehydrators. You guys haven't used that yet. And I'd be like, we have 90 minutes. Like, what am I going to dehydrate in 90 minutes? I can't dehydrate anything in 90 minutes. The caviar was a huge thing, because they had said at one point, like, we want you guys to do caviar. And I'm like, well, I have to do an alginate bath and it has to sit for 24 hours and this and that. They're like, well, why don't you use agar? And I'm like, 2006 called. They want their shitty technique back. I don't use it anymore. Because of course I'm the unfiltered one. So there was some learning curve things there for them as well, because in the beginning they wanted all of us to put our drinks up at the same time, all 12 of us.
Yeah, dilution.
And I was like, and they're like, yes, Kate. I'm like, so by the time you judge and then you set the cameras up and then you move to the next person and then you set the cameras up, like after 12 of us, I can't put my, and they were like, oh. So there was...
But that's drink competition 101. They should have had a consultant on the team, like telling them...
They had a pastry consultant.
A pastry consultant?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but again,
it's fair, but I mean, pastry's not made of ice. That's last time I checked.
Yeah, it is not. So there was definitely...
I'm not trying to talk trash.
No,
just saying.
trust me. I'm like, there was, it's the first season. There was a lot of things that we were like, hey, we don't really do it like this. And they were like, oh, okay, well, let's have a meeting. Now we have to adjust. Now we have to let them go, and then we started having to make our drinks. The last 15 minutes was everybody going up and making their drink. And then we'd have to all do it at a different time because I didn't want my drinks in there.
Yeah, of course.
Until someone else.
Yeah.
went.
Yeah, of course.
And it was all just learning curve stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, I think it did the job, man. I think it was like you say, I think I never really viewed it from that lens, but like for consumers who watched it, I'm sure it was very eye-opening, and that's great for the industry because you and I have definitely experienced this our entire lives. Like people have no idea what they're talking about. Like, the closest they get, especially I'm from the north of England, which is like the whole of the north of England is like a little bit behind, or at least it was. Maybe it's not so much now, but I always used to get Tom Cruise. That was the closest they could get
all the time
to like a bar, like a career bartender was like, Tom Cruise in Cocktail. I'm like, sure, man.
Sure. That's actually what I do every day.
That's exactly what I do. Yeah, yeah, like really bad flair, and sometimes I jump on the poetry. Bar and I do a poetry. And that's it. And I have an Australian boss, and we drink Louis Trace, and that's it. That's our entire industry.
There were some bartenders when the show came out that were like, that's not real bartending. And I was like, well, for one, duh. Mm-hmm. Also, no, it's not real bartending. I mean, not, everyday bartending, but that's not the target demographic for a Netflix show. No. It was aired in 188 countries, and there's like 45 million viewers. Like, this was for consumers. Yeah. And let's not forget, consumers are the people who pay our bills. Mm-hmm. Those are the people we want coming to our bars with a little bit more perspective and understanding as to what goes into it. So when they get, a 16, 18, whatever dollar cocktail, they're like, oh, well, I know the time, energy, and effort that went into this.
Yeah. And no one's watching a Netflix show where you scrub the floors on a Saturday evening at 4:00 in the morning. Like that's not it. That's not great TV. So but I think it did the job, man. And I think it was I think it was really cool. Do you think there'll be a second season?
Hope so. I know second season was greenlit. I know there was some changeover at Netflix. I hope it's still happening. Mm-hmm. I think it's imperative that it does. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do, I think every time they did it, they'd get better. There's a lot they learned and know. Plus they have all the equipment and everything, ready to go. They have that, they have it. Yeah. I really hope it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be cool. It'd be good for the industry, I think.
Yeah.
What would you say ended up in the edit, which didn't seem like reality? Can you do any behind the scenes stuff?
I'm technically I can't.
Pulled out. You would have signed an NDA, right?
Yeah. I mean, I probably already said.
Okay, cool.
No. I mean, it's fine.
We can edit anything out if you feel like it's.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, we had to sign NDAs. Like it is a TV show with Netflix of course. And all that stuff. So. Yeah. No, I mean, I think the one thing I will say that people didn't get to see is the relationships that were built. Mm-hmm. I think if you follow us individually, you will know. Mm-hmm. For many, many hours during a day, we're in a green room with no cell phones and no nothing, just hanging out, the 12 of us. Mm-hmm. There are several people from that show that are my best friends.
Yeah.
Suzu is one of the most important person, that I associate with still. I talk to him every couple days. After the show, it was like 10 times a day. Because we go through, it's crazy after the aftermath of that. It takes a lot out of you, the mental health and the judging and the people on Reddit asking. The most Googled thing about me was why I blacked out my arms. There was a Reddit thread at one point that I was in the cartel. I live in New Mexico, and that and I was just like, cool,
perfect. Let's put those two things together.
Yes, I love this, and people just making judgments and things like that. But the relationships that were formed on that show are lifelong. We all went through something incredibly fun, traumatic, but it was a riot.
Yeah, I can't think of another show that's anything like that. I know Diageo World Class did a documentary. They did kind of a documentary about the process. I remember watching that, and but that was nowhere near the same production value.
Yeah, I mean the production was crazy on that show.
Pretty crazy. So how long did it take to shoot then? Like, cause you were in like 10 episodes, 44 days.
Yeah.
Wow. But like not 44 days straight. You had
we had off, right? 2 or 3 blackout dates.
Wow. Okay, that's intense, dude. That's a chunk of your life. That's like, because usually a cocktail competition from start to finish is like
one episode takes 3 days to film.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So your actual working time is you're doing a lot of waiting then, aren't you? Really, you're waiting for cameras to be set up and makeup. The 2 makeup artists for 12 of us. Yeah.
So makeup is we're getting there at 5 a.m.
Yeah. Take the shine off.
Yep.
I'd be quick. Just. Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of waiting around.
Yeah.
Lots of hanging out.
Yeah. How would you say it was different for you than other competitions that you've done?
Oh my gosh, like worlds different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so different. I mean, I don't think there was, besides the actual like making a syrup or whatever, there was zero similarity.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm a rules girl. Mm-hmm. When I do competitions, I'm always like read everything.
That's everyone who wins competitions is the people who win the.
It's not about the drink.
Read the rules. Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. Of course, there's part of it, but like. So, I'm thinking about the brand and the angle for the brand and what I know about the brand and what they want to highlight. It's who the judges are and what they're judging for. This competition, there was no brand sponsor. There was no anything like that. It was about showmanship and the storytelling. There
was a couple of name drops in there, though, right? I think I'm sure I spotted a couple of name drops in there.
You did.
Yeah. Okay. NDA. Got it. Carry on.
So it was about storytelling and things like that, and the showmanship.
Yeah.
There was a lot of showmanship in there.
Yeah, of course. But yeah,
TV.
You have to.
Gotta do it.
You have to listen to them.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool, man. I really like that.
If I were to go back in time and someone said, would you do it again? I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Would I do it a second time? No.
No. Yeah. But you've done it now.
Right. But it was an incredible experience. It was great for my bar. Mm-hmm. We opened about 6 months before the show was filmed and about a year and a half before the show aired. We were very lucky. We had already won Best New Cocktail Bar from Tales of the Cocktail before it aired and all that stuff.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know the timeline.
I had like 1 or 2 people have been like, oh, well, she got all that from Netflix. And I was like, no.
That's good that you had that like logged.
Oh, for me, show. In my self-esteem. Yeah, I was like, we got Best New Cocktail Bar before that show. I mean, way before that was even a glimpse.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel a lot better about things. But, for Main Street, like we have people that come into the bar. Like I saw you guys on Netflix. I want to come in, and it's been great for the bar, and it's great for the staff, and it's great for people in general. Mm-hmm. Do
you find it's a different kind of person who would come off the back of the Netflix show though?
Yes and no. I think because Netflix has such a wide audience, we got everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, Netflix, especially at the time, was the number 1 viewed platform.
Yeah. I suppose it still is. Maybe YouTube is the biggest one, but
yeah. Netflix. I mean, it was wildly popular in Mexico, in Asia, India. Like, my followers and demographic on Instagram there's a lot of people from different countries that I wouldn't even, I'm like, why are these people, like, who? And then I'm like, Netflix. I was with Nevsky in Bratislava. We were in Slovakia, and he and I were like walking. I love churches. We were like walking to a church, had some coffee, and I heard Kate, and I'm like, and we kept walking, Kate, and like he and I are like, and there's just cute couple come like running down. They're like, we saw you on Drink Masters, and what are you doing here? Like, what are you doing in Bratislava? And we're like, we have a guest shift tonight. Like, come on in, and things like that. Where I'm like, I get recognized in the airport, and I'm like, oh yeah.
I love that you were in Bratislava with Nevsky, and they recognized you. And
so we actually laughed about this because I was like, oh, they didn't know who you were.
Wow. That's like his neck of the woods, man. Yeah.
He's like, nice. He's like, shut up. I'm like, no, I'm sure they know you.
Yeah, he needs a confidence check every now and again, just to
I love him.
Keep him under control.
I've known him. He's one of my oldest friends in the industry. I met him at Bowls.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we became really, really close. Like, we're industry friends. Mostly, like, we used to go on family vacation together, and he came and lived with me in California for over a month, and he's come to my house in New Mexico, and we don't post and tag each other in selfies on Instagram and things like that. So I've watched him, go from a bartender in Amsterdam to where he is, and I see him as my friend Dan. And he's obviously very influential, cocktail guy, and a lot of the one thing I will tell you is that man cares about this industry with more passion than most people have in their pinky.
Yeah.
Like, he really cares.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah, he's always messaging I know that he's thinking about the industry constantly. If he has an idea for me, he sends me like, you should do this. Like, what about this? Like, check this out. And he just messages me.
I'm here because of him.
Yeah. He hooked us up because he's like, oh, you should do the podcast. And I'll hook you up. And he's done that to me a couple of times, and I'm so appreciative. And it's really cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
Wildly engaged.
Yeah. We're also kind of very similar people. We realized in the podcast, like, after we spoke for 3 hours, like, we're kind of the same person. Which is pretty funny. I like it. All right, let's talk about your bar. I know you want to talk about your bar, and I do as well.
Always.
Super into it. I want to get super geeky.
Bar. I'm biased, but
Yeah. So just to frame it, like, what I know about your bar is Albuquerque, New Mexico, of course, but you've got a distiller's license because bar licenses are prohibitively expensive.
Yep.
So I want to first know, because like that's to me it's like super baller, super inspiring that you would find a loophole and have the balls to go and take that on. I think it's cool, man. It's
a friend of mine that I've known for a really long time at Portland Cocktail Week a couple weeks ago, and he was like, man, 5 years ago, I remember when you told me this idea, and I was like, don't do it. Like, just don't do it. It's so ballsy. And he was like, thank God you didn't listen to me. I'm like, I know. I've always been pretty courageous. I don't know, dumb. I don't really fit into the box. And I'm always like, well, let's just throw it at the wall. We'll see if it sticks. The licensing where I live is very difficult, and people would ask me all the time, when are you going to open a bar here? And I'm like, I'm not spending $500,000 for a piece of paper for a liquor license. I was talking to my liquor license broker one day, and she's like, man, it's a shame you don't know how to distill. Distiller's license are, $750. And you can open a bar in your distillery. And I'm like, well, it's not that I don't know how to distill. Like, people distilled back in the day before electricity, right? Like, I'm like, heat, condense, cold, paper, got it, check. But there's a lot of distillation that takes place outside of that realm. This one I do need to be careful on. But there's distilleries that MGP exists for a reason. Whiskey distilleries, Scotch, right? We all know that distilleries distill and sell to distilleries, and there's blending, and there's olive aging and all of these things that are part of the distillation practice. And I was like, well, I know these things. I'm in the industry. And as the cool, hip, trendy bartenders that we are, how many people are using rotovaps and distilling and redistilling? And we all tried to make our own Campari rinse. Like, we're all in the kitchen adding all these herbs and shit and trying to do this stuff. And I was like, okay, well, what if I do this? And what if I do this? And I contacted a lawyer. I contacted the TTB. It's just our regulating body. I asked them flat out, like, this is what I want to do. And they, the thing is that the TT, they're there to help you. Like, they're there because they want tax from alcohol. So they want you to succeed. So I was very careful. I went through the process, talked to the TTB as we were getting licensed, asked them, things. We have a 2,000 liter vacuum still. We have a 20 liter vacuum still. We have a pot still, small, like 5-gallon pot still. Now we have more stills because at first we started, small, and now it's just gotten bigger and bigger. And now we do a lot more distillation. But we were doing a lot of different things, and we open, we buy whiskey from like MGP. Well, so did High West. So did, Bullet didn't have a physical distillery for the first 15 years they were open. Yep. These are all things that we as industry people know.
Yeah.
Consumers don't know that, but we do. Yeah. Right? So I was like, okay. The one thing that made us incredibly different is that from the front of the house perspective, when you come into the bar, it looks like a bar. It looks like a cocktail bar. You can't tell that we didn't put a still right in the middle. All the distillation equipment's in the back. And we have like a whole big area that we do all that stuff in. And we weren't showcasing that. So we didn't put like, welcome to the distillery, happy accidents gin, happy accidents this. We just put vodka, gin, whatever. Because we wanted to feel like a cocktail bar, because I wanted to stay in my lane. I do bars, right? So we opened the bar. We're real lucky. It was very well received in Albuquerque. People love what we were doing. We were doing fun, different cocktails because of the volume that we distill, and we also have an importer's license, so I can import different products from all over the world. Basically, if someone has a distiller's license anywhere in the world, I can buy direct from them. Yeah. And at first I was super nervous about brands and what people would think. And, people like, oh, they're going to shut you down and this and that. And I have a lot of different things I tell people all the time. The only people that can really pull this type of operation off are us, right? Applebee's and all these, they're not going to start distilling in the back. Like these distributors, all these people are going to exist for years. Like, grocery stores aren't going to do this. When we think that we're the biggest and best in the world as the cool, trendy, hip cocktail people that are going to all the bar shows, we're like 2% of the bar industry. We are definitely the ones that are leading trends and things like that, but we're not the ones that are making all the money. These corner neighborhood bars and dive bars and chain restaurants and all these places, they're going to exist forever, way longer than we are. They make the brands way more money than we do. I'm not taking anything down. I'm just creating an avenue where we can do different things. Yeah. And some of the different things that we've been able to do is offer health insurance for our staff. Yep. And be able to, we were able to pay off our loans very quickly. And I pay, when I import spirits, specifically, we import agave spirits. The farmers that we import from get more money from me than when, they are selling to some of these big brands. And let's not forget, they're selling to some of these big brands. Like, we all know.
Especially with agave, yeah.
We all know that agave is produced at 200 brands at one distillery. Yeah. We know that. So at first it was like, and I did. I actually gave an interview before we opened, and the TTB and the regulating government of New Mexico came in, and they were like, postponed our opening. And I was like, I thought I lost it. I was like, oh my God, I opened my mouth too quick. And they were like, we want to make sure you're distilling and doing this and that. And they came and expected us, and they were like, no, you guys are, okay, you're doing all the things. Like, you're distilling, you're doing everything. I was like,
yeah, I was going to say, that would have been a moment. Did you already have a 20,000 liter still at that point?
Not at that point.
No,
I didn't have that. 2,000 liter, but I didn't have that one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man. And now we were expanding the distillery, we're canning line, all this stuff. So it started out as like, hey, we're going to do this. And it's become, oh, we're doing this. Mm-hmm. It's gotten a lot bigger than we even expected. And now there's lots of different distillery bars, I call them distillery bars, that are opening all over the country.
Yeah.
There's several in New Mexico. There's, one in California. There's a couple in Colorado. And essentially, like, we want to mass produce our spirits and stuff because people ask all the time. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, we only make for ourselves. And then we were like, well, why? Let's go big or go home.
Yeah. So it's kind of come full circle.
But the cool thing, the cool thing for the bartender, so we have a bunch of barrels. Like I'll order I order a lot of vintage bourbons from MGP, but they have a huge catalog, and I'll order like a barrel of corn, a barrel of rye, a barrel of wheat. And the bartender, if they want to make a whiskey drink, they go back, they pull from the barrels, they make their own mash blend, they proof it to what they want for their cocktail. They have a vision, if they want predominantly corn or maybe something more wheated, they make their own, and they get to design their cocktail from the ground up. If they want a gin that has more citrus notes or they want a lavender, they can go distill whatever gin they want.
Okay.
And it's not hard.
Yeah.
Distillation. Now there's great distilleries and great distillers and not so great, but distilling from fermentation and distilling and importing are very different things. So it's really cool and fun and different. And it's just one other little sliver of what this industry does.
Yeah. But you don't go back as far as fermentation. You buy NGP in.
We, for the most part, NGS. Yeah, for the most part, we don't. We do ferment some things.
Yeah.
We also use that as sustainability, so nothing goes bad in our bar. So if even like a milk punch or any fruit juice or anything that starts to go bad or ferment, we'll toss into a tank in the back, add yeast, ferment it, and distill it.
Just ferment everything.
Everything. Literally everything.
Yeah.
Like, that's bad. Just throw it in the tank. We'll ferment it later. We'll distill it. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll ferment it.
Yeah, it's
That'll
fine.
ferment.
It'll ferment.
That's good. What's that smell? All right,
it's fine.
It's fine.
Everything's fine.
Good. Yeah. Okay, cool. So just to clarify, in case we didn't hit that point perfectly, like. Yeah, so you're looking for a bar maybe, or you're considering the idea, as we probably all are all the time. Bar licenses are ridiculously expensive, which I think was Albuquerque. Obviously, it was dry at some point because everything in America was dry at some point. But was it one of the states that kind of had a longer dry period?
It's not a control state. What happened was they issued liquor licenses. And they in New Mexico, they're valued like property. So some states, when the population increases, the liquor licenses are increased per capita to pay. But for Albuquerque, it's like, these are the liquor licenses, these are what they are. Yeah. So families would buy them up, and then they became really valuable. And then you would lease it, or you would sell it, or people would die, and the only people who could afford them were really like, the Olive Gardens of the world, you know? So there wasn't a lot of independent businesses, independent bars that were able to, that were able to afford them. They just kept getting more and more expensive. And there's right after we opened, there's new liquor license, because it's been a huge problem in Albuquerque. So now there's different licenses that are less expensive that if you carry New Mexico spirits or things like that, you can have. The problem is that anytime they've tried to change the laws, there's people lobbying against it because they have inherent generational value in these things that they've been holding on to, and you can't just take someone's property and devalue it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're holding a liquor license that's worth $500,000, and then all of a sudden
they're like, now it's worth
like, there's 500 more. It's like,
you're like,
okay, well, I'm not going to buy one then.
Yeah,
so,
thanks.
Yeah, because I think something similar happened with taxi licenses with Uber.
Yep.
And then
absolutely,
they had a big fight. And there was people like buying up taxi licenses in New York, and then Uber just came along and went, well, we're not going to do taxi licenses anymore. And that was a whole thing. But okay, so you figure out the distilling thing. You have to go through some regulation, and obviously there comes along with that some restrictions on brands. So yeah, just clarify for me, like what are the restrictions on what are you allowed to buy and what are you not allowed to buy?
We are allowed to buy fermented and fortified spirits.
Okay.
So beer, wine, and sherry, vermouth, anything fortified, port.
Okay.
We can't buy distilled spirits through the brand itself unless it's done through a transfer and bond on the back end.
Right. Okay. So
Distillery,
because you can buy spirits because you said you buy spirits, but you have to buy it in bulk.
In bulk.
Not branded.
Correct.
It has to be unbranded, and
Correct.
You can't list the brand on the. Well, if it, yeah, because I imagine some of the. I asked that like.
So there's
because I know some of the stuff that you get will be a brand, but it won't have.
There are some really incredibly wonderful brands that people know and recognize. Yeah. I've had someone come in and taste something and been like, "Is this?" And I'm like, "I don't know,
maybe."
Because that's the other thing is like we all know that distilleries sell. Like we all know that, right? Like. There's surplus and there's things, so we can buy those things. We just can't call it that.
Yeah.
Because once it's ours, it's ours.
Yeah. I mean, I know like, well, you don't need to say anything, but I can say whatever I want.
Yes, you can.
But I know like for example, when you go to a big distiller that produces mass amounts for some massive brands like Grey Goose, they'll literally say to you like, do you want a Grey Goose style vodka? And you'll be like, yeah, I'll take a Grey Goose style. But you also know that they sell Grey Goose to Grey Goose, and so when you get the Grey Goose style, you're like, so is it Grey Goose? And they're like, well,
I don't know.
No, but it's the same style.
Exactly.
Also, we make that, and you're like, oh, okay, so then yes, cool. Yeah. All right, tell us the next drink. We have a new drink, people.
Have a new drink. Albuquerque is a small market. We are trying to get our clientele to really understand what we do. So this is our version of a chocolate martini because, chocolate martinis in Albuquerque have the Hershey syrup in the glass and the pointy little thing. And, they're basically chocolate milk.
$19.99.
Yep, we have a martini menu, and we try and get people drinking a little bit. I don't want to say sophisticated, but like just differently.
Yeah.
So my bar manager Zach did this with a cacao vodka that we make, Pedro Jimenez sherry instead of vermouth, and chocolate bitters, and this is our most intro to martini worlds, because when people come in and they're like, do you have martinis? In our market, what they're asking is, do you have apple teenies?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're trying to, and that comes almost with like a twist. So when someone comes in and orders the chocolate martini, we're always like, we would like to explain ours, because we don't want them, I don't want to trick people, and I don't want them getting what they think is going to be a dessert drink and then getting this. But it's just something, it's raisiny and chocolatey and fun and different. But I think what we've been able to do is, and then we can move them through the martini menu and get them drinking things that are a little bit more fun and creative and interesting. And we're able to, I love small market work. I really love going into a community that just hasn't been exposed to the things that are out there, and get them drinking in a way that has changed kind of the trajectory of where that market's going. So this is our chocolate martini.
Okay, let's taste.
Cheers.
Cheers, dude.
Boop.
It's chocolatey.
It's chocolatey.
It's very chocolatey.
Yeah. But it's not sweet, like overly sweet, and it's our way of being like, just trust us a little bit, give us a little bit of appreciation.
Yeah. The PX is super nice as well.
Yeah, I love
But
PX.
honestly, you can put PX on everything.
Bathe in it, I'll swim around in it, yeah.
Yeah.
So we just try and kind of gradually introduce people to the fun world of bartending.
You have to be a little bit, I don't know. Yeah, the thing with the small market for me, like, so I have a bar in Manchester, which is a relatively small market if you compare it to London.
Right.
Everything in the UK is relatively small when you compare it to London. It's just,
New York is ours.
Gigantic. And I think, like, I suppose the dichotomy of thought that I often have is that you you need to understand that they might not have been exposed to some stuff that you might want to present. You know, you might want to be like, I'm going to do this, but they might not be ready for it. But you also don't want to be condescending to, because they actually probably have really discerning palates and they have been exposed.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know, I'm always in this like who am I to say what they've been exposed to,
yes.
and how advanced their palate is or not. It's kind of a bit trial and error and kind of judging as best as you can.
Yep. It's a hard one because like you don't want to tell people they're drinking wrong. And I always say like give people what they want. But I also
drinking wrong.
Yeah, you don't even know how to drink.
Stop.
But I also I want to give people new experiences. I want to show them something fun and different, because we all remember, it's like when you have someone come in and they're like, I had this one drink at this one bar. I don't know what was in it, but it was green and it had this and and you're like, fucking man, I don't know what you had, and I can't make it, and probably had 11 different ingredients in it and things like that. We want to unlock that for people, like instead of just being like, I want to have the same chocolate martini or mojito that I have at every other bar. If they trust us a little bit, then they'll try this, and then they move to this, and next thing you know, they're drinking like pros.
Yeah.
So
yeah, how do you approach that on the menu? Because I always think it's often overlooked. I think people really focus hard on menus and how they're designed, but I think they quite often ignore the primary function of a menu, which is communicating the drink to the customer. And basically, if there's a perfect drink on that menu for the customers, how do you get them to choose it?
That I talk about a lot. So we've done this to ourselves, and sometimes I always think to myself, maybe we shouldn't. Like, we have anywhere between 60 and 80 drinks on our menu at any given time.
Mama.
It's rough. And honestly, with all honesty, it's too much. But it's who it is. It's who we are, because I tell people there's something on the menu for absolutely every person, and every drink isn't designed for me. There are drinks on my menu that I don't like, and people are like, why would you put something on your menu that you don't like? And I'm like, because I don't gravitate to extremely bitter drinks, right? Like I don't drink a lot of Campari and things like that, but that doesn't mean that there aren't people that love that. It takes a lot of work with our staff and our bartenders. There's nothing worse than when a guest comes in and says, what's good here? And you're like,
everything.
I didn't put anything shitty on the menu. Also, it's subjective. Like, you know, I'm not going to ask you where you grew up and how old you are and where, you know, like, so the first thing our bartenders usually say to someone is like, what do you normally like to drink? Yeah. And, you know, if someone says, I like pina coladas, we're like, cool. I'm going to take you over to this section in the menu where we have fruity, fun, tropical, light, you know, creamy, all these drinks, and I'm going to help you navigate that area. If they say I like Negronis, I'm like, great. I'm going to steer you over here where we have some booze forward, spirit forward drinks and this and that. If you like, you know, margaritas, we're probably going to find you the sours area, and we're going to move through that. Okay, you love sours, perfect. You know, do you have a spirit choice? You know, you know, I don't really like gin. Well, do you like vodka? Yeah, great. Let me try this. Why don't you try this bitter courage? Like, it is a gin-based drink, but it's not really gin forward, blah, 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 blah. And that's the bartender's job, is guiding them into a direction where we get them the drink that fits them and fits their needs. And because we're a distillery, we have a huge draft program. We usually have anywhere between 20 and 30 draft cocktails, plus handshaken, plus stirred. And that's another thing. So when, you know, people are like, how do your bartenders memorize all that? And I'm like, well, you know, 30 of them are on draft. Yep. And because we're a distillery, we have the ability to do all these things. Right? We have a huge facility where we can do all kinds of work that a lot of bars aren't able to do. So do I think it's smart to put 60 drinks on your menu? Absolutely not. No. Don't do that. But we are in a unique position where we can. Yeah. And my staff is incredibly talented, and we just like to do things that are challenging and different. Yep.
So you have 20 to 30 on draft. So you got like what, 30? You got 30 lines or more?
I have 100.
You have 100 lines.
100 draft lines behind the bar, no back bar, because we don't have spirits. So the draft goes, but one keg will feed two, so that, because there's two main wells and one in the middle, so that the bartender over here isn't, because our bar is 44 feet long, so the bartender over here isn't walking 44 feet to get a drink. So everything's like doubled. So it's 50 taps. On any given time, 30 cocktails and usually 10 non-alcoholics. And usually we keg those. No light heat or oxygen, so we don't have to worry about spoilage when there's no alcohol in it. We have a huge, massive walk-in that feeds. I mean, it's direct feed, no glycol, no nothing. It's just boop.
Okay.
It is a 44-foot walk-in in the back that goes all the way down.
What temperature do you keep the walk-in at then?
Great question.
Because there's no chiller, right?
No. 33-ish is kind of where we try.
Okay.
Sorry, I know.
You've said some numbers there.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Numbers are hard.
I'm going to pretend that's like, is that fridge temp?
It's a little bit colder than fridge temp.
Okay, so like 1 degree then.
Yeah, we try and get as close to, just
what is freezing in
32.
Fahrenheit? 32. Okay, so you're just above freezing.
We're trying to keep it as close as possible.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to say that's 1 degree centigrade.
So that's why we don't put martinis on draft, right? Because we want our martinis colder.
Yeah.
So everything has a science behind it. Most of the things that are going on draft are carbonated drinks. The majority of our drafts are carbonated, and we don't put no fresh juice in kegs. So, highballs with like citric or malic or whatever. If it's a sour, it's getting shaken to order. We want aeration and things like that. We also have, my business partner designed our draft system and specially designed kegs and everything, so they're back circulated. So every time you push back, there's a spinny thing that comes back and circulates the keg. And I love carbonated drinks that are done on draft. The alcohol is so. I tell people all the time, so we have a whiskey cola on draft, and it's a smoked whiskey cola. And I tell people it'll ruin you for any rum or whiskey Coke you'll ever have. You take room temperature whiskey, you pour it over a rock that, room temperature dilutes, flattens everything, soda off a gun, which is essentially just a cold plate underneath. It flattens everything. When you get a whiskey Coke in a bar, it usually goes flat very fast, shitty ice. Our whiskey is carbonated, our syrup is carbonated, our water is carbonated, it's effervescent, it's fucking ice cold when it hits the rocks, and it stays carbonated the whole time. So I tell people all the time, our gin and tonic's the best gin and tonic you'll ever have because it's cold as hell, effervescent, and I'll ruin you for the drinks that you can have in any bar at any other place. Yeah. And sometimes I think we overcomplicate things, and having just a damn good, we have a banging vodka soda. Yeah. But if you think about the Toki machines, right? You're like, oh, that's the best whiskey highball ever. Yeah. If you pay attention to the whiskey, the vodka soda, you can have the best vodka soda ever. Yeah. And ours is dumb. Banging. Good. Yeah. Dangerously good. Yeah. And because the alcohol itself is carbonated, anything with dissolved CO2 is absorbed into your bloodstream quicker. So if you think about the difference in drinking wine and champagne, everybody's like, oh, I get so drunk off champagne. Yeah, the bubbles are shooting that right into your veins. That's how your body absorbs. Yeah. So our vodka soda it packs a punch. It tastes like soda water, essentially, because it's ice cold, and it's delicious. Yeah. Yeah, I think people underrate bubbles. I've always said, for me, a gin tonic. I think when there was a gin tonic craze, certainly here in Spain, there was a gin tonic craze. Yes. I know. 10 years ago or whatever it was, and they were putting it in stupid big wine glasses. Yeah. I always hated that, but I always said my best gin tonic is Tanqueray, Schweppes, Highball, cubed ice, and or beef. Yeah, fine.
London Dry.
London Dry.
London Dry, but and they would be like, Schweppes. Well, why Schweppes? There's so many there's all these Mediterranean style ones, and I'm like, Schweppes because they carbonate. Yep. They carbonate the fuck out of it. It's such good carbonation that you can't beat that. That's what you want in a gin tonic. You're underrating the bubbles. You can put a hint of lavender in there if you want, but if you're reducing the amount of carbonation in there, you're killing it for me. 100%. So what's the key to a good draft system then? This is we're not even podcasting now. I know. I'm sorry. Now you're doing Now you're doing a consultation for me because I'm just about to put four cocktails on draft, which is nothing for your 30, but I've got a kegerator and a chiller and four. Well, I've got 8 taps going in, but 2 beer and sparkling water and regular water. 4 of them. So just CO2. Taps. So we do. No, it's CO2 because we're gonna have Guinness, so we'll have we're gonna have NO2. Well, we'll have got cocktails, lager, and Guinness, so we'll have CO2, a mix, NO2. And then a different mix, so because it's NO2. Okay, you're gonna do so we do CO2, NO2, and a mix. Yeah. Depending on the drink itself. If it's a booze on, so for example, the Oreo Negroni that we're gonna have is actually a draft cocktail as well. So if we have
an ingredient that doesn't have any juice in it, like our Negroni, that'll go on draft too, because the time to mix in, because we're talking like high volume. My bar is 170 seats. We don't have a lot of staff. We turn and we want things to come out efficiently. Those are all pushed with NO2, so they're not carbonated. We do a lot of spirit-forward drinks on draft. As for the carbonated drinks, a lot of that is the prep. Clarification. If we can keep any solids, anything out of it, the clearer it is, and not color-wise.
Regardless of whether it's carbonated or not.
No, if it's carbonated.
Yeah, if it's carbonated.
Yeah, if it's carbonated. If not, it's just pushing.
Right? Yeah.
And cold AF.
Yeah.
Cold.
Yeah.
As possible. That's a huge one for us. And we charge 3 times. We charge everything 3 times in the prep process. Expel all the gas. We charge it again. We let it sit for 24 hours. Make sure it
You
gets
charge the whole
whole
batch
batch.
3 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Expel all the gas. Charge again.
While it's in the keg.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't use beer lines for ours. I'd have to ask my business partner is the smart one. He has special lines that he uses for them, because what we found is the beer lines were causing too much bubbles in the process. So it would come out and just be foam, and then they'd have to wait to pour it and be foam and wait to pour it.
I've definitely been there.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And I'll have him send you. And then our kegs have this tube that goes down in circles at the bottom, and it's like a dipstick. So when we're done and the back pressure, it pushes everything back down and stirs the keg.
Okay.
So that nothing separates over time. So if you have any settling or anything, and there's if you've ever seen in bad drafts, the last couple cocktails that come out are like thick and sludgy, and it's all the stuff that's settled over days. Yeah. So ours are constantly stirring all the time.
Okay. So is that like a special kind of keg, or is that just a thing that you've managed to get in there?
Managed to get in there.
Okay.
He's super smart.
Yeah.
I talk a lot. He's the smart one.
Yeah. Okay. So he's found a way for you to not go in there and have to turn the kegs every day. Yeah.
And I think actually Perlick now has one.
Okay.
That you can buy.
Okay. I might ask you.
Reach out, and I'll connect you with him, because
that sounds good.
And then there's different nozzles that we use for different drinks too.
Yeah.
Like the Guinness and things like that, depending on what we're looking for.
Guinness has the little creamer on there, right?
Yep. Our espresso martini is on draft.
Of course. So you would use a Guinness nozzle for espresso martini?
We do.
Okay,
we also micron filter our espresso, our cold brew and everything, so that it doesn't the coffee doesn't sit there, it doesn't get tannic.
Yeah, because it'd gain bitterness over time.
People all the time are like, "This is the best espresso martini we've ever had," and I'm like, "It actually is. It's so good."
Yeah. Okay, so cold.
There's
clean
3 C's: cold, carbonation, clarity.
Yeah.
Cold, something else, and clarity.
Do you when you add water, do you pre-carbonate the water and then carbonate everything? Everything gets carbonated before it goes in, and then you carbonate the whole thing again. Yeah. Love it, man.
As many bubbles as we can throw at you.
Yeah. I think that's I already had an inkling. Well, I know carbonation pretty well, not necessarily for kegging so much, but if we just carbonating drinks, and we just carbonate everything before it goes together, and then carbonate it all again 3 times, and our guys like in my bar now, they'll open a carbonated bottle, pour a batch, and then squeeze it out, recarbonate, put it back in, and then it's you're just constantly getting carbonated.
The carb bottles are fine and good, but keg systems are, in my opinion, so far superior.
Superior, for
they're
sure.
So good. And we started doing draft cocktails 12 years ago. And we had a huge learning curve. And I think the reason why draft cocktails got such a bad reputation is that people just threw a recipe in a keg, carbonated it or did whatever, and then threw it on draft. And we realized that wasn't the way to go.
Yeah.
There was a lot of changes. We use an insane amount of acids. We have, the acid shelf at the bar. It has acetic acid and citric acid and tartaric acid and malic acid and lactic acid, and depending on what we're looking for the mouthfeel out of the cocktail. Therefore, we don't have to clarify everything. And we have a centrifuge, but not everything has to go through it. We use a lot of different and we use extracts, all kinds of things that we can distill to get flavor into there and keep it as close to water as possible.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, we have a consultancy. Do you know the book called Bubbles?
Yep.
Yeah. So the guys that did that, they're friends of ours.
Yeah.
UK.
Great book.
Crossroads is their bar, but they're doing our whole system for us. So
yeah, we're
in safe hands.
You'll be good.
The first time we did it with like because it was like 5 or 6 years ago. There was no one to consult in England, so we found like the best beer guy we could find to set up our system for us, and he kind of made us like a fucking. I remember going in and he's drilling a hole in a fridge, and I'm like,
this isn't it.
I'm like, this is not my world, man.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on, but okay. And then we had problems like constant foaming.
The beer, that's the biggest problem too. Is that people go, well, we have a keg system for beer. We're just going to put a cocktail on it, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and it was like I was supposed to be a time saver, and then like as an owner, you're like, I've done this thing for you, and then the staff are like, it sucks. And you're like, fuck, but I'm trying my best here, guys. Yeah. Like I'm trying to save you time, and also I'm like trying to make money as well. And you're like,
fun.
Yeah, but it sucks.
Like money.
Yeah, and they're like, look, it keeps foaming up, and I'm like, I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah, the foaming thing was a big thing for us in the beginning, and luckily I have an amazing, intelligent business partner who loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So if I don't have one of those spinny things, I'm just going to keep turning the kegs. I think we're doing like 5.
You'll be able just
5 liter kegs.
Give me a call. I got you.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I'll buy you a ticket, or you can send the smart one.
I'll send the smart one. We'll send the smart one.
Yeah, cool. All right, so we got into the weeds on draft. I think that's enough. That was mostly for me, guys. Sorry about that. But, so tell me about the ethos of it. Why is it called Happy Accidents? First of all,
because I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes, and actually, the bar originally was going to be called something else, and I took on a partner who wanted to invest when they heard about our concept. One thing I'll tell you, if you ever want to open a bar, make sure your partners and you align on everything, because this guy was not in the industry. He owned the building. He's, this is going to be great because we're going to make so much money. I want to invest. And I'm like, oh, great, more money. And then I realized right as we were getting close that he didn't care about that. Like, I wanted to offer health insurance. He's like, we'll figure out once we make money. And I was like, no, this is who we are. This is why we're opening this. Yeah. We have to offer, and no. And all these things, it didn't align, and we ended up separating, and I had to sell him. We'd already been licensed in his building. I already gone through the process. I had to sell him everything, my whole company. In fact, actually, I had to go to court to get paid for it. But I thought everything was over. I lost everything. I was like in a spiral, depressed. It was right during COVID. And it was like, pick yourself up. You can do this, right? And I was like, now I need a new name, because I had to sell him the name because it's already attached to the license. And I was thinking, and my grandma used to love Bob Ross, the painter.
Bob Ross, yeah.
And he would paint, and he'd make a mistake, right? And he'd be like, we'll just turn that into a happy tree. Like oh, no. And his saying was, we don't make mistakes, we just have happy accidents.
Yeah.
And as people navigating this world, the way we do, we make a lot of mistakes. And as long as we're accountable for them and we turn them into, learning or whatever. So I was like talking to someone one day, and I was like, I can't believe I did this. I was like, just turn it into a happy accident. And I was like, ding.
Yeah. It's a sick name.
Thank you.
Do you have any Bob Ross pieces in the any little nods? Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, nice.
Lots of Bob references, kind of hidden around the bar.
Because the Americans love Bob Ross, right?
He's dope.
He is pretty dope. Even I caught a glimpse of him through my childhood, and he's not well known in the UK, but you catch a glimpse. Ours is Rolf Harris.
Okay.
Who turned out to be
I also love art.
Pedo, to be honest. So.
Anyway, I love art. I do graffiti. I paint. I'm a closet painter. Yeah. My grandma was a painter. Loved Bob Ross. He was on the TV all the time. So it just was fitting, and it worked.
It's nice. Yeah, I think not to draw your own lesson for you, but I think just, like my muse on what you said there with a business partner, because I know I've been down the road, like not with a business partner, but with I partnered with a company, like they owned the building. It was supposed to be like a profit share thing.
Yep.
And it went terrible, like it was a big, like, it's like owned by a Saudi prince or something. And then like, just a massive conglomerate. They didn't care. They just wanted money through the door. Yep. They didn't want to give us time to do what we wanted to do. And in the end, like as we went into COVID, they owed us like 10, 15 grand or something like that. And I was like, hey, are you going to pay us? Because like we're kind of screwed right now. We're paying all the staff, because in the UK you had to keep paying the staff, which was, as you should.
As you should.
And we were just like burning through money, and they were like, oh no, but you're the employer, because we were the employer of the staff, but we were supposed to get profit share, but we never got any of the money.
Of course not,
and then after COVID, we were like, I was trying to get them to restart it again, not because I wanted to work with them, but I just wanted the money back, and we just never got it. They just stopped answering emails after a while, and they kept changing people, and I was like, okay, this is like, it
was a huge,
but it's a like you say, it's a happy accident. It's a learning curve.
So and that's
you only learn those lessons that way. There is no way to learn that lesson in a good way. You just learn it like that.
People ask me all the time, what's the advice you'd give, or what's this, what's that? And I just tell people all the time, like, if a door closes, find another fucking door.
Yeah.
Turn everything. I hope we all fail. And what I've realized is the best things come from those failures.
Yeah.
If you are persistent and authentic and a bull in a china shop or not, I tend to be the bull.
Yeah.
That was like one of the darkest moments for me, because I had like so much money involved, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. But now I look back on it and I'm like, thank God I don't have that person as a business partner. Thank God I don't have to pay them out of what we've created. And we were able to find some people who, what I think, the angel investors, the swan song that we all hoped. There were guests that came into my bar that loved me, saw what I could do and asked me for years, and they gave me a personal, non-interest, loan. They just said, I want to see you do something. I maxed out every credit card I had. Before the bar opened, I had about $1,200 to my name. It was during COVID. I was like, I've got 1 month's rent left in me. I hope we get open soon, and I hope this works. And we were able to pay them off in a very short period of time, and I paid off all my credit cards, and now we have a bar that I'm very proud of. And
you were treading new ground as well. So there's
I was so scared.
Not like loads of people you can turn to and go like, what should I do?
Hey, what do I do?
Because I don't know, you opened a distillery bar. Like we don't really know what that is,
I definitely look back on it now and I'm like, damn, girl, what were you thinking? Like, you just like, whatever. But, right now, my country's a mess, right? And we're about to end SNAP benefits. That's our welfare program, because our government's on. We shut down our government.
I always hear this about America. I was shut down the government. I'm like, what do you mean?
What do you mean you should?
Shouldn't someone be running it?
We're just gonna put things on pause. What? So, I was in Portugal last week, like literally crying at breakfast, watching this go down, because kids that survive on welfare aren't gonna get food right now. And I look back at a certain point after my divorce, this restaurant that I had with my ex-husband, I went on welfare. I didn't know how I was going to feed my daughter. I needed these things in order to survive. I'm probably batshit crazy. I don't know. And I'm sitting in Portugal and I'm eating and I'm going to these bars and I'm drinking and I'm thinking back to like when I was on welfare and I, was a bartender working till 4 a.m. with a 6-year-old kid at home that was being taken care of by a babysitter. And, if I can do it, I tell people all the time, be unapologetically authentic. Do not give up on your dreams, ever. We are bartenders. We are tenacious. We are empathetic. We are some of the best people in the world. Stick to your creativity. If a door closes, find another damn door. and turn your mistakes into happy accidents, literally.
Yeah.
I am very blessed to be where I am and who I am. I definitely feel like I worked pretty hard. I definitely have a lot of privilege to get there. But I think because of who we are as an industry and the way we support each other, I think we have the most opportunity to make change in this industry.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm very biased, but I think we're the coolest people on earth.
No one else is going to try and change this industry.
Right? No, no, but us.
It's us on that one. Yeah, and to do what you've done, and I'm gonna get onto the other thing because I know about your staff program, but to do what you've done and to take this. The step with the distiller's license, and not just that, but also the way that you run your team, I think people, unless they've been somewhere in that area, and try to do a new thing, they don't realize how hard it is to do a new thing. Because someone does a new thing, and it's such a ballsy move, and it feels so dangerous to you. You've got no one to really you feel lonely, and it feels like a dark with the distiller's license, for example, my old this is something I'm trying to untrain myself for. I'm a very over analytical person. I'm what could go wrong? And this is and this is hospitality, right? Because you kind of get trained this make sure you want to deliver a perfect experience for every guest, so you consider every possible mistake. And then you start doing that in business.
Then you try and get ahead of the mistakes.
Yeah, but in business you can always find a reason not to do something, and that kind of translate. Those two things kind of go together. You're looking for the mistakes, and you're but I wouldn't do this. So you could have very easily gone, but I'm not going to get it. If this was a real thing, someone would have done it before me. But for you to have the confidence to go, no, maybe just no one's fucking noticed it. Maybe just do this, it should be fine. I think that's it's super admirable. It's very, it's American spirit as well, a little bit, which I really respect about American. And I'll trash you all day long.
Yeah, please. And I'll take it too. So
yeah, but I do like that American spirit. I heard someone say, this is a wild detour, so apologies for that.
That's
but
right.
I heard someone talk about when they were the Manhattan Project, when they're developing a nuclear bomb, and they said something like the Germans and the Americans were developing nuclear bombs at the same time, but the Germans overestimated how difficult it would be by a factor of 100, and the Americans underestimated by a factor of 100, because the Americans are just naturally optimistic, we'll do it, we'll get it done. And look who comes out on top there. Sometimes blind optimism and probably be fine is good. And I think about the times where I've just gone, fuck it, do it. Yeah. And it worked out. Actually, it worked out. Or if it didn't, it wasn't the end of the world. That example I gave.
It wasn't the end of the world.
You just pick it up and do it again. And you learn so much from that you could never learn from a good experience. Exactly. No one's going to teach you what it feels like to be screwed over by a partner. Nope. There's no... I can't tell you. I can tell you. Yeah, you're not going to understand it.
I'm going to tell you that crushed me. You're not going to see me sitting on my couch bawling, feeling like I'm going to vomit every 5 minutes, wondering what the hell I'm going to do with my life and where I got here.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And the other thing for that is you see all these bartenders, and right now I'm traveling the world and I get to do all these cool things, and everyone's like, oh, she's so lucky. And I'm like, I definitely, yes, but I threw a lot of things at the wall that didn't work either. Mm-hmm. But you just keep coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the other thing I think about sometimes when people mention failed business. There's people throw stats around, and whether they're real or not, they talk about whatever the
failure rate.
50% of businesses fail in the first 5 years or whatever, and then with bartending, with hospitality, it's 90% or something. And you're like, yeah, but you're not mentioning how many of those people opened a second bar,
correct,
or third or fourth or fifth.
Absolutely,
because I've failed at a bar. Yep. One of mine closed down.
But you know what?
But it's okay. I still have one, and it's okay. Right. So sometimes I think the statistic is unnecessarily negative, and it's just it's trying to scare people.
Which some people need to be scared.
Some people need to be scared. Yeah, some people should be scared off. But And to be honest, I think it's actually disproportionate. Like the people who should be scared quite often are the ones who are not, and the people who shouldn't be scared are the ones, because they understand
I totally agree with that.
They understand it so much better, and they can see all of the problems. It's like what is that? Yeah, I can't remember that. You don't know what you don't know kind of thing. Like that.
I say that all the so.
Yeah.
Tobin used to say that to me, and the first time he said it, I was like, oh, I don't even know what that means. I use it to the point where people are like, "We know, Kate, you don't know what you don't know," because I used to, in my 20s, I was like, oh, you're so smart. And then in my 30s, I would look back on my 20s and be like, you were so dumb. You didn't know this. You didn't even know all the things you didn't know. And then now I'm in my 40s and I look back and I'm like, oh man, the only thing I can say now is that now I finally accepted that there's a lot of things I don't know.
Yeah.
I finally got to the point where I'm like, I probably just don't know what I'm doing, but you don't know what you don't know. Yeah.
But there is some I don't know how relevant it is, but yeah, they say that the 4 levels of knowledge are like, you don't know anything, and you don't know anything, then you know a little bit and you think you know everything, then you know quite a lot, but you realize how much you don't know, and then finally you become an expert, and you know that you know your shit, and you've kind of got a well-rounded view. And I think most of us professionals in the industry are like level 3, and they'll never be level 4.
We're never going to, that's
just like
reserved for the very special.
Too much,
special humans.
I'll never get that. I just want to pivot back to, I want to get technical again as well, and then we'll get back onto the emotional, philosophical stuff, because it's cool. But I want to ask your opinion on bars like yours, and a little bit like a lot of bars in Europe, in the UK, like a lot of rotovaps, a lot of distillation, a lot of pre-batching, and what does that do to brands over the long period?
I have tons of opinions on that.
Okay, perfect. Give me your most controversial one.
Most controversial is I'm so sick of clarification and rotovapping everything, which is funny because I own a freaking distillery.
yeah.
Literally.
Okay.
And one of only 2 2,000-liter essential, vacuum stills in the world. But again, I own a distillery. So we, as an industry, love our trends. Cool. Great. I think there's a point where everyone wants to see a rotovap. Everyone wants to see everything clarified and crystal clear. I think there are so many things that are... The technique needs to serve the purpose and fit the product. So... clarification rotovap, for example, people are they're like, I took this neutral grain spirit and I infused it with a ton of cilantro. And then I stuck it in a rotovap and I distilled it. Essentially, you're distilling out what you've infused. You're stripping and removing a lot of that flavor. So we're doing all of this technique and process to something, we're adding flavor in order to remove flavor. Because when you're rotovap, you're not making more, you're not creating a new spirit unless you're fermenting, which is a totally different ballgame. So there was a specific cocktail in mind when I was asking how they made it, because they were like, oh, it's cilantro and this and this and this. And I was like, kind of just like very light cilantro, but whatever. And they're like, oh, well, we infused it and then we distilled it. And I was like, well, why did you distill it? Well, we have a rotovap. Yep. But why?
Yeah.
Because I don't really taste a lot of cilantro. And I'm only using cilantro, like whatever. But it was like, we did it so we could rotovap it. Okay. Cool. Dan and I went to a bar. Won't even say where. Great bar. And there was 5 drinks. We ordered 5 drinks from the menu, and they all clarified. And we were with 5 different people, and we all passed around the drinks, and we all tasted them, and then we ate the garnishes off them, and then we set them down on the table, and everybody was like, well, which one's which? And we were like, well, we're all bartenders. We'll figure it out. And we all started tasting and looking at the menu. And they were so similar in flavor profile that we actually could only determine 2 out of the 5 as to which ones they were on the menu. Like, that's how similar in flavor profile, because they were all, and I love a milk punch and I love it, like, they're soft and elegant and whatever, but what are we doing? Like, when did we get so hooked on this one thing where we're giving people glasses of essentially what looks like glasses of water with a gummy bear on top. And at the end, there's nothing left. There's just lightly flavored water.
Yeah.
We're losing track of the real point. And color is beautiful. And if you've ever read a lot of the science on how we register flavor in the brain, color has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Bright, beautiful colors, and they're like, not everything has to be clarified. I love clarified drinks, but your whole menu doesn't have to be clarified and rotovapped to be a good bar.
Yeah.
In fact, I think the opposite. You're not. You're just honing in on one thing. There's such a big world of bartending out there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of over it.
Yeah.
Kind of over it.
How much do you think it's just bartenders making drinks for other bartenders?
That and Instagram.
Yeah, that and Instagram.
You see a trend on Instagram, and that's what you have to do. Or a bar wins an award or gets a place on a list, and it's now copied everywhere.
Yeah.
Chill out.
Yeah.
Be you. Be authentic. Don't worry about it.
Maybe a lot of places are just looking for something to spend brand money on, because usually brands will give you money, but they don't want to just put it in your bank. They're like,
right. They want to buy something.
You have to buy. I'll buy you something.
Yeah.
And like, what's the most expensive thing? Rotovap's they're pretty expensive. Like, let's get one of them.
Yeah, I'm so sick of it. And again, I have one big one. But I'm also a distillery, and
but you just think it's overused, right? Like you're like
absolutely. I think there's a purpose, and you have to be smart about it. And also, like, I went to a bar not too long ago that had, they're like, this is our number one seller, here, we want you to try this. And I tried it and I was like, oh, is this non-alcoholic? And they're like, no, it's like a twist on a vodka pina colada that we clarified. And I was like, why would you strip flavor out of something that's had this flavor stripped out of it? I mean, the whole point of vodka is redistilling until you get to the core. Like, I don't even think people are thinking about the ingredients and stuff. Like, so for us, Jamaican rum is hard in my market because our guests don't get it.
Yeah.
We did a Jamaican rum cocktail and people kept sending it back saying that it was spoiled. They were like, it's really funky. I think something has turned. And I was like,
you're saying good words to me right now. Funky is the best.
I mean, to me, I'm like, yes. But in a market that hasn't been exposed to that, so we did a beet goat Jamaican rum, and then we clarified it and made a milk punch out of it. And then the same people that didn't like, they loved it, and then we could like guide them into understanding and liking funkiness a little bit more. I think if you're not understanding the techniques and how they're best used and why you do that, and you're not using that as a practice, and you're just clarifying because everything on your menu needs to be clarified, it hurts my soul a little.
How do you think brands feel about it, though? Like my musing, and it's similar to your bar, but your bar is different because it's never going to be every bar. Like
never.
Yours
Shouldn't be.
Yours is different because there's a place for everything, and I kind of think the same thing.
Yeah.
I have a different opinion on rotovaps to you. Like, I think they're a valuable tool that do something that nothing else can do, and I do think they're overused. I would agree with you there, but I think there's just a place for them, and I think there should be bars with rotovaps, and then there should be a lot of bars without them.
Yes,
because I think like a lot of people don't have any place fucking about with it, and it's like, it's okay. You don't need to jump on this trend.
Yeah.
Just like there doesn't need to be, like not every restaurant needs to be a Mexican restaurant. Like, it's like they're and I like the fact that we've kind of hit this point now where there can be different bars, because I think regardless of how grandiose we think we are, the drinks industry still follows the food industry, and the food industry, restaurants are separated by their style, usually by the cuisine of the country that they come from, and I don't think drinks will make it there, but there can be classic bars, like Satan's Whiskers is an obvious one. They love their classics, they stick to classic styles, and they make everything fresh, and I think it's amazing.
But
then there's a completely then you got like Shapes or something to
Right.
use another bar in London, completely opposite. And I think that's great. And we can have these two different types of bars, and you should be able to do that.
It should be.
Yeah.
Like, we don't
Should
have
be
to
like
copy each other.
Yeah.
There should be all of these different things going on. It absolutely needs to be that way.
But so my question, to get to my question is like, how are brands going to let's say in a hypothetical world, if like 70% of bars are pre-batching everything, it's all going in fridges and freezers, and they've got no space for a back bar anymore because everything needs to be frozen, which is definitely a big thing in the UK for sure. Like if you want to charge top dollar for a drink, you better come in a frozen glass, which means now you don't have space anymore, so it's all freezers everywhere. So like lots of frozen glassware, very few brands being represented.
Yes.
A lot of stuff being redistilled, therefore you can't really say Campari.
I'm always amazed when a brand buys a Rotovap for a bar.
Yeah, it seems like aren't you creating your own destruction?
So your product isn't perfect yet, and you know that it's not. It's like, so you want them to do it. Even like I always tell people, I'm amazed when people walk into a bar competition and they've infused the spirit. I'm like, don't do that. I took your product and I made it better. Yeah. Even if I've infused the spirit, I'll be like, oh, I made a XYZ,
you say you put it in the syrup.
Yes. Yeah. I'm like, why would you say that? I've now manipulated your product. The product is the product. That's what it is, and we want to highlight that. So I think it's funny when brands...
Even though it's all kind of bullshit because you're putting it in a cocktail, which is manipulating it anyway. But I get your point. Yeah,
I know. I mean, that's the thing, is we are taking these things and we are covering up or hiding some of the flavors in them because we've added all of these other things. Again, they're cocktails. That's what we do. Whatever. The brand bar relationship is so... obviously in sync, but so not in sync sometimes. But in the end, we're all here to make money and we're all here to play the game. And they're playing a game of the buy-in for us to get on the menu. And we're playing a game to the guests to give them something new and exciting. And in the end, we're all hoping to go home and pay our bills. It's interesting, and things are much different in the U.S. Like we can't do pay to play. We can't even, but brands can't even buy you equipment in the U.S.
No. Can they give you free stock at the end of the year or something? No. It's not allowed. Okay.
There's workarounds.
Yeah, sure.
But no, they can't come in and buy you stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know in the UK we can just send you an invoice. And be like, hey, it'd be nice if you gave us like $5,000 right now. And we'll be like, okay. So invoices for this.
It's usually like a card swipe. It's like, we had 100-person party.
Oh, really?
For $5,000.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty simple workaround. Okay, cool. Don't worry. No.
I mean, I don't work with brands, so that's a guess. It's a guess. I guessed.
No one important's going to listen to this. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. All right. So, I want to talk about your team, your ethos behind the team, and leadership and mentorship then, because
we're a bartender-owned bars. Yep. I worked for shitty people.
Yeah.
I worked for good people, but I worked for a lot of really shitty people, and I didn't have health insurance for the majority of my life. I'm really lucky I didn't need it. In the U.S., obviously, that's a whole mess. I don't think businesses should have to provide insurance, but I'm obviously not changing the law because my one little vote doesn't do that much. So I am in the world that I'm in. So COVID was a gut check for all of us globally, especially in the hospitality world. But for us, me and my business partner, we were kind of like... we were living off credit cards, trying to figure out how we were going to survive. And when we went to open the bar, we had a very long discussion about how to do things differently. And what we wanted to do as our goals. And our goal was, now no business is perfect, right? We haven't created the perfect environment for everything because it's a business. But the goal was to make the best bar for the team, not the guest. And this was so backwards for so many people. I mean, there were so many business people who were like, the guest comes first. You have to, and I was like, if we design the bar for the bartender will take care of the guest because they'll treat it like they're home. And they were like, no employee is ever going to do that. Like, you have to, it's about the guest. And we were like, it's not.
It's not about them.
It's just not. And it's funny, when we first opened, we got some really bad reviews because people were like, they don't put the guests first. And I was like, we don't. We put our staff first. And if you come in and you're not respectful, or, you know, this or that, and you don't respect the place or the guests or the bartender, like, we don't want your money. There are good people that will keep coming in. So we built a bar that was about the bartender first. It is a bartender owned and ran and focused bar. So everything that we do, we try and think about what is best for our staff. When the staff comes to us with things, we listen to them first and foremost. We wanted them to feel that they had equity in the programs, in the hiring. I mean, the last step you go through in being hired in my bar is you come in for a paid stage. It's usually a 4-hour shift. Everybody thinks it's like a normal stage, like I'm coming in to show what I can do. We don't give a shit. You're coming in, and usually you spend an hour with the manager, and then 30 minutes with each staff member, following them around. You're interviewing with our staff. If you don't get along and work well with the staff, at the end of that night, we ask the staff, do you want to work with this person? Do you guys as a team want this person as part of your family? And they collectively decide. They're the final say in who's getting hired.
That's cool.
Because you know what it's like when you get that one person that comes on the team and everybody's like, working with this human. So, you know, everything from policies that we implement to cocktails that we switch in and out to anything that we do, we always try and include the staff on every decision. If someone cuts off a guest, if a guest is impolite, if any of those things happen, if a staff member makes a decision on the floor, even if I disagree with it, I back them 100%. And then later we have a discussion as to why maybe I would have done something differently. But I will always stand by my staff no matter what. And they know that.
And I suppose that in turn filters the customers that you get, because when you say, like, you know, when you first opened you got bad reviews because they felt like you weren't putting the guest first, kind of only assholes are going to say that. Because like, I can't be an asshole in your bar.
Literally.
And it's not fair, because I can be an asshole in other bars and they'll just keep being nice to me.
And I don't want you in my bar. Like, it's fine. Go to Applebee's.
And actually that is serving, like, in a longer term period, that is serving the guest, because the guests who come in then don't have to mix with assholes. Like, which is amazing.
And there was a learning curve, and there was a time when I was like, oh, we're getting all these bad reviews and people, like, they don't put the guests first, or they don't do this, and I was like, oh, is this a bad idea? But now those people don't come to my bar. I don't want them in my bar. And it's great.
And you have probably, you know, happy staff with a bunch of cool customers who
are happy to be there.
To be around.
They love what they know what they're getting when they come in. It's great. I have, most of my staff has been there since day one. We don't really have turnover unless someone leaves the state. For, you know, like my manager, whom I love and adore, fell in love and moved to Colorado, right? Like,
boo.
I know. Love. Like things like that, right? I'm really, really like, that's why I get to do the things I do. That's why I get to travel around. Our first hire that we ever hired is still there. He actually, 15 years, his name's Oscar. So 15 years prior, Oscar was my bar back at the High Volume Cocktail Bar when I won Bulls around the world.
Smashing out vodka Red Bulls.
He was my bar back. Ended up managing bars around Albuquerque. I moved back, and I kind of was like, hey, and he's like, yeah, I'm in. Oscar was working one night about a year and a half into the bar. We're a dry bar. You don't drink behind the bar in my bar either. He's doing prep. It was just a prep day. He went across the street. He had a couple of drinks. Oscar was riding his bike later that night and was hit head on by a city bus.
Oof.
Broke several bones, was in a coma, and there were some really bad things that happened. He was in the hospital for several months. We have health insurance.
Yeah.
His doctor bills were hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
We also kept him on salary as a business during that time. 6 months later, he came back. There's cognitive brain damage. He's a limp. He worked the door for a while. Unfortunately, he got some pain meds during that process. We put him through rehab. Oscar is now 2 years sober. He never left the bar. I hope he'll never leave the bar. He still works us. We're going into 5 years now of him being our employee. He is a part of our family. He's a part of every fabric of who we are, where we will be, and where we're going. I love him beyond belief, and that's why we do what we do.
Cheers to Oscar.
Cheers.
I share some of his story, so I feel that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what would have happened had he not had health insurance.
Yeah. I mean, this is such an alien. I mean, as you would know, like to anyone in Europe, or like I'm from the UK, I live in Europe. To any of us, the health insurance thing, when like we hear Americans say health insurance, and we're like,
what do you mean?
I have health insurance. Do I have health insurance? Like,
probably.
But it doesn't really matter because like for us here, like in Spain, like you'll have health insurance so you can get seen a bit faster and you can go to a nicer hospital and it's not that expensive. It's okay. But if you didn't have health, it's not a problem. You go to a public hospital and it's fine. And in the UK, almost no one has health insurance.
Oscar has 3 kids too. Like we're talking.
So that's safety net. Like if you don't have health insurance, that safety net is just not there. Not there. Like, and if you get hit by a bus, it's like, what do they? I mean, they save your life, right? But what is the deal with that?
They save your life, but you still have the bills.
You still have the bills.
Absolutely. Forever.
Okay.
It could literally change not only your life physically, but the rest of your flipping life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You have that debt forever and ever and ever and ever. My health insurance for my bar is almost as much as my rent.
Wow.
It is insane.
Yeah.
I could probably, let me do the math real quick. 8, 10, 12. I could, in my pocket, or our pockets, or whatever, I'd have an extra 6 figures a year if I didn't pay for health insurance for my staff.
Yeah.
Now, I will say also, it's not like we're like on our high, we offer health, and like, because I operate under a distiller's license, I don't pay as much for alcohol. I live in a different profit range than a lot of bars. Yeah. Which is something we didn't talk about, but it's a huge factor.
We kind of
it's a huge factor. I pay a lot less for vodka per ounce than anybody else. That enables us to do this. So I'm not like, we don't make any money. But that was the whole point of like, if we're going to do this and this is who we're going to be, we're going to make sure that we're putting money back. And we also, we've taken our staff on trips. We've closed the bar. We're up for, best new bar. We got best bar team as well.
At Spirit.
At Spirit, yeah. We got back-to-backs, I was like, we're in Albuquerque. Yeah. And then the next year we made top 4 for best American cocktail bar. We're real fucking lucky. But I think it's because, those are peer awarded. And the industry was paying attention. Our community in the U.S. was like, have you seen what they're doing? Yeah. And we're not just recognizing cocktails anymore. We're recognizing what we change in the industry and the ripple tide that we affect. Yep. And I think that's important. I talk a lot about that with like the lists and all of these awards. Like, yes, the cocktail program is important. Yep. If that's the end all be all and what you're putting as the best awarded bar, I feel sorry for you. What are they doing for the community? How do they treat the staff? What are they doing for their guests? What the bigger picture is? Because if all we care about is what we're putting in the glass, I think we're missing the point. That's not hospitality. Yeah. That's not. No. It's not hospitality.
Yeah. It starts with the staff for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think, not to make it about this because it's, I'm sure you don't only do it for that reason, but reducing labor turnover is actually a massive financial
they say it can cost 20% of a yearly salary to retrain a staff.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I know what it takes to train a staff.
It's also a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. It slows everyone down. Yep. Keeping valuable people in there. I mean, there's many ways to do it that are not exactly the same as how you do it. You know, you can give people career progression. You can keep increasing their salary as they go.
There's lots of things to do.
There's lots of things you can do. But
we have to if you're a boss and you're not checking in on the humanity of your staff, like not just like, oh, hey, nice to see you today, but like, how are you? Mm-hmm. How's your family? Mm-hmm. What are you up to? What's going on?
Yeah.
You know, there's so many things that we try and do. And I'm not perfect, don't get me wrong, but there's so many things that we try and do to just make sure that the human beings feel like human beings. And I know it sounds so simple to say, but I think a lot of times it's just like insert employee into whole. Mm-hmm. Oh, check, they dropped out, insert new employee into whole. Mm-hmm. And especially in this industry, when we have to be on all the time and smiling and happy, it's draining. Yeah. Like we have so much on us, and in the U.S. without health insurance and support, and no paternity, maternity leave, none of that stuff. It's like, why be in this industry? I think we've lost some of the best people ever because we weren't sustainable. Yeah.
Yeah, but I hear so the thing that maybe confuses me a little bit about America, and I think it's very state specific. You'll hear that like the minimum wage in some states is ridiculously low, right? And
$2.13. So
is that what it is in Albuquerque?
I think right now it's up to $3. So we pay triple minimum wage.
Okay.
As well. Triple minimum wages is our bartenders start at $10 an hour, mm-hmm. as opposed to $3 an hour. Mm-hmm. Our back of the house staff starts higher than that, right?
Yeah. Like they're not getting so much of a tip share, or
they don't get as much of a tip share.
Okay.
Our front of the house is a full pull. Mm-hmm. Back of the house gets a tip out. But when we opened, there was actually some business owners in Albuquerque that were like, you can't do that. You're making us look bad. Yeah. And I was like,
unlucky.
Sorry?
Suck it up.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay. Weird. I went and lobbied at City Hall for minimum wage to be increased, and it was myself and a restaurant down the street called The Shop Breakfast and Lunch, mm-hmm. And a food truck, and we were the only 3 business owners in the entire state that lobbied for the increase of minimum wage. Mm-hmm. And I got up and spoke about making it what I call a non-negotiable. Like, we have non-negotiables. We know we have to pay our electric bill, we know we have to pay our rent, and we have to pay things that we have to pay. We have to have insurance, you have to have liability. Mm-hmm. What if we just made health insurance non-negotiable? And then we fixed it into the way that we cost out our products. If we all did it as a team together, unitedly, then prices would be what they are consistently, because that would be the norm. Yeah. But we haven't done that, and it should happen. What really should happen is the government should step up and
have a national health service.
But obviously, they're not listening to this. Yeah. So
they're certainly not going to listen to
They're not going to listen to you
I try. It's pretty good, guys. I promise. I've tried it. It's super good.
Yeah. So, if we don't take care of each other, mm-hmm. It's frustrating. It's annoying. I don't think that we're doing anything that is groundbreaking. I wish we weren't doing something that people thought was groundbreaking, mm-hmm. because I think we're just being normal humans and fitting that into our business model. Mm-hmm. And that's where we are. Yeah. Sometimes I'm frustrated. Sometimes I'm like, this is expensive, and it's exhausting. And I do I have staff that's left, and I'm like, we took them on this trip and we did this, but I always remind myself that it's the cost of doing business. Yeah. Those people take with them the memories of working for me. And the cool thing is that even if an employee has ever left my employ as on bad terms, it's usually the average is 2-3 years later, I get a call or a message or something, mm-hmm. and it'll be like, hey, I just want you to know you're the best boss I ever had. And I'm always like, stop. Wait, can you say that into the microphone? Wait, hold on.
Can you write an article of
I was at Portland Cocktail Week, and some of my employees from North Dakota happened to be at Cocktail Week, and we all went out to dinner, and we were all laughing, and they were like, that was the best job. That was the best team we ever had. Like, we really liked working there. You know, there's highs and lows in any place. But that to me is, so we talk about legacy, and there are bartenders that have created cocktails that will last forever. You know, Trinidad Sours, thanks Giuseppe, and Penicillins and Paper Planes, and we love Sam Ross, and those things, especially back then, those things are impacted our industry and they changed the game. I would, and not disrespecting them, but I'm like, I would rather be known for the way I treated my staff and them going on and doing better than me, and that being the legacy, than an Oreo Negroni. You know, like...
Yeah, for sure. Not just the staff. I mean, for me, there's so many things that come above the drink. This is like, it's not even like top 3 or top 4 maybe. Like, you know, we focus on it because it is like the product and it's what we're selling. And I think it's really interesting. And I think it's great, you know, like a lot of what we do is to keep the staff interested. Like, you know, I think we're like, you can develop things and you can create menus and stuff like that. And it's like, I kind of know from an owner perspective that some of what they're doing is for them, and it's because they want to develop and they want to be creative, and it's a creative outlet, and I'm allowing them to do that for them. But I know that a much less complicated drink that's probably already on the menu and we don't need to develop new ones is just as good for the average guest, and it's not going to change too much, but I like them to have the creative outlet, so it's a lot for them. But so I think there's a lot, and I would say the hospitality is above the drink for me as well. You know, what was it? I think I was even chatting to Nevsky about it, but we were talking about, like if you have really good hospitality and a shitty drink, it's way better than the other way around. You know, like if you get a great drink, you got shit hospitality. The drink will taste bad anyway because you've just been
shit hospitality.
Yeah, you've been ignored. Like, you've been ignored for 10 minutes. It took too long to get the drink. They didn't look you in the eye. There was just like so many little things. You know, like all of these things, and then the cleanliness of the bar, and you know the vibes. You know, the lights at the right level, the music. Like there's so many things going on because people are buying an experience. Like they can have a drink at home, especially when you're pre-batching everything anyway. You could just sell them that bottle. Like if it's just the drink, sell them the bottle and they go drink it on the street. But it's not that, is it? We're renting them a table and a chair for a period of time, and then we're giving them our hospitality, and the drink is part of that package, but it's not even the number one part of that package.
Inherently, we are social creatures, right? Like during COVID, everyone tried to home bartender. We're like, this is harder than I thought. And I'm like, it is, thanks. Yeah. But also like, I know.
Thank fuck for that.
But that's, so I talk about the similarity. So I feel like I'm not a religious person, but I love churches. And I tell people all the time when I go to new places, I'm always looking, I want to go in the church, because the energy that I feel inside a church is the same energy I feel inside a bar. Because especially in places like Europe, when there's, you know, old cities, the gathering places were the church or the bar. And if you weren't religious, where did you go to celebrate? Where did you go to mourn? Where did you go? When in times of celebration, times of mourning, and times of desperation, everybody drinks, right? Like, and that's where we went. We went to bars. We went bars to be around people, to feel better when we're down, and we went bars to be around people when we want to celebrate something good. And when you're sad and you need advice, and you go to church so you can be sad, and you go to church when you're happy, and weddings and all these things. And I see these like inherent similarities, and I always say that the only time that I used to say all the time that I have the most secure job in the world, because even during the Great Depression, people drank. The only thing that ever made me shake that was COVID, because I was like, maybe it's not the most secure. Like I always said, like my industry will never die. And I actually don't think it will.
No, I agree. Yeah.
You know, but it's because we are social creatures. We don't really go to bars for the buzz.
No,
we don't.
I think it loosens you up a bit. You know, but it
loosens you up so that you can be more social and
that's all
enjoy the people and interact and or even people watch. You know, people don't go to bars to read books. They could be at home reading a book in quiet. They want to do it because it's the energy.
Yep.
It's that life that we breathe into these spaces. So yeah, cocktails are important. But just as much as you say that, you know, like there's a lot of people that go to bars and drink beers and you know, even water and what it's to be around people.
Yeah.
So if you're not putting the same energy into that you do in that, you've missed the point.
Yeah. Yeah, which brings me back to like actually it makes me think again about how you, because this is also something I speak about with my business partner, is like filtering the guests actually, and you're naturally filtering guests by not by basically just not accepting assholes and just putting the staff first and saying, yeah, if someone's an asshole, you can just get rid of them. And we're like, we don't want your money.
I have walked up to someone and say,
it's for other guests.
Yeah, it is. I have told people, we've closed your tab.
We've closed your tab. Is that the opener?
Well, depending on the level.
Hi, we've closed your tab.
I've actually said to someone, well, I didn't pay it. I don't want your money. I told someone once, you're so negative, I don't even want your negative money in my bank account. Wow. It will taint the energy of like I don't even want your money. I've closed your tab. I paid it. I'd rather have you out of here than have your money.
I love it.
And I can be real sassy. It probably wasn't my best move.
That was sassy as fuck.
Yeah. I literally was just like, they were like, well, we didn't even pay. And I'm like, I know.
I know.
I know.
I don't how terrible you are.
That's how awful
as a person.
You are as a human.
Yeah.
I don't even want your money tainting my bank account.
You are abhorrent.
I want you out so badly that I have actually paid for your drinks. I'm paying you to get the fuck out of here. I'm paying you to leave.
Yeah.
Thank you. And it's funny too, because, you know, I've had people who I want to talk to your boss. I'm like, well, I am the boss. Well, I want to talk to the boss over you. There is none. Well, what about the owner?
Yeah, me too, huh? So
hi. I know.
Sorry.
My usual go-to from that is sometimes it still surprises me, but here we are.
Yeah.
You know, like it's me. You have to deal with me. I'm the one. Still done.
Yeah.
Bye.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Tell us what's in the drink first, because I basically finished it already. Sorry, it's pretty smashable.
Thank you. This is the batch one that I brought. So we have to make everything. It does have vermouth in it that we were allowed to buy fortified. So it's a Negroni. Everyone hates when I say this. I don't like Negronis. We won't get into the whole super taster thing. Super taster doesn't mean you taste better than other people. It means you're really sensitive to bitters. Women tend to be super tasters because of poisons, toxins, pregnancy. I'm super sensitive to bitters. Okay. I never, I can drink Negronis, but I always had, it's so bitter. So there was a whole chocolate Negroni phase. Naren Young had done a chocolate with chocolate bitters. I'm huge on nostalgia, and I love candy and cookies and dumb sweet shit. So the drink started as a Oreo fat wash Negroni, and we used to take Oreos and blend them in a blender with gin, and then freeze it and fat wash it. You know, take out the fat and make a fat wash Negroni. And one Christmas, I sent it to bartenders canned, and people were like, "This is an insanely freaking delicious Negroni." The creaminess of not only the chocolate, but the creaminess from the middle.
Whatever that white shit in
the white shit. I'm like, I don't want to call it. It's literally like the processed, cream. Nasty white stuff. Kind of rounds out a lot of the bitters. Yeah. And I tell people, if you don't love Negronis, this is a great intro Negroni. Now, because we're a distillery, we distill an Oreo gin. We take cookies and we basically distill them with our own gin and our own chocolate gin, and it's round and it's got a little bit. It's bitter, but it's got this like roundness from the chocolate and that's a little bit more approachable for people who aren't into those things. Yeah. And I just love nostalgia. I just love dumb shit from your childhood that kind of like reminds you of things. So I
would say it's like, for me, it's 95% a Negroni, and then there is like 5% of just extra roundness and balance. Yep. And it's nice. I also like that, because this is something I've thought about recently, is how when you have a big block of ice and you drink, it hits your nose every time you take a sip.
And the cookie.
And the cookie does act like a little nose bag. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So it was a drink that every Christmas after that, all my bartenders were like, "Are you gonna send out the Send us the Negroni.
So is this kegged usually or just batched?
This is kegged. It's batched.
And you push it through with N2O?
Yep.
Okay. Cool, man.
Yeah.
I like it. I want to talk, like we get back to your team, because I know, like, obviously you pay them a living wage and you give them health insurance, and I know how important that is. Although I just like, it's so alien concept to me.
It's sad that it's such an alien concept. It's like, why I say, I'm like, why?
Well, you know, like, one thing I relate it to. Because I lived in New York for a couple of years, and I used to walk past this guy with one leg, and I have one leg, and
I noticed.
Yeah, you would have noticed, but most people on this podcast wouldn't have noticed, because it's like, I don't know. I think the table just catches it sometimes. Nevsky tried to get it out of me, tried to get like a conversation going. I didn't buy it. I'm talking about you right now. But but my point is, like, I used to walk past this guy. He was on crutches with like a leg missing.
Yeah.
And you know, like I stopped once because I used to see him quite a lot around the neighborhood, and I'm like, what's the deal, man? Like, you know, like, why haven't you got a prosthetic? And he's like, I can't afford one. And to me, that was like, like, I couldn't imagine, like, I was like, oh, yeah. Like, I kind of know roughly how much this costs. It's like 50 grand or something. And I'm like, yeah, well, I like, you know, I haven't got, maybe now I could afford it, but like fucking 50 grand, yeah, it's mad money. But like, I just go to the NHS and they give me the leg. And actually, not just that, but I go to the NHS and I say, like, I'm still into snowboarding. And they're like, oh, they do a snowboarding leg. And I'm like, cool, can I have one? And they're like, yeah, you can have one. I'm like, cool. And I still want to run. And they're like, oh, do you want a running leg as well? I'm like, yeah, I'll take a running leg, you know. I got 4 legs, man. I got beach running,
beach leg, run leg,
snowboarding, and then my regular walking leg. And like, I just, you know, like, I think about that guy fairly often, to be honest. Like, I just think it's fucking brutal. It's like, it's brutal. Where's the safety net?
My GM, who is the crutch to our business, right? Like, he is
the crutch.
So, sometimes I'm smart.
Yeah, I like it.
He was a regular in the bar. He's a chef, and we became friends through him being a regular. And I had been talking to him at one point in time, and he had cancer. He had colon cancer, and during COVID lost his job insurance and was never able to finish the process of having it, you know, because he had his cancer removed, so he had a colonoscopy, and he had a, whatever the bag's called.
What do they call that? Yeah, whatever that bag is. Colostomy bag.
That's what I mean. Okay, colostomy bag.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, man, you should get that fixed. He's like, well, I don't have health insurance. And I was like, dude, just come work for us for 90 days. Like, come work, you know.
Is that the period where they'll start accepting pre-existing conditions? For your particular,
us.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, come work for us. Get your surgery done. Let's get this. I mean, this human is one of the coolest humans you'll ever meet in your life. Yeah. I was like, just come work for us for a while, dude. We'll figure it out. And then, like, you can quit later. I don't even know. He was like, seriously? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, duh. 3 years later, he still works for us.
Yep. Nice. Tricked him into it.
Yeah. I won.
Yeah. Got ya.
But he's had 3 surgeries. One of them went poorly. He had to get airlifted. I had a chef that was in an accident, flipped a car. Like, you don't think about these things.
You got health insurance and a lot of accident-prone people in your company.
But the funny thing is that, like, it's actually not, like, it's just that most people don't have the means to get it done. To have to actually say to a human being, come work for us so you can get your leg. You know what I mean? Like, that is insane.
Do you think you're attracting a lot of naturally clumsy people because they're like, I need health insurance?
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Smart.
But tell me more about the, like, so you, like, I know you pay a living wage. Like, I read something, and maybe just clarify, like, there's some level of, like, scope, or at least like a profit share and potential partnership somewhere in the future. Like, how do you pass that out? How do you figure that out?
We're still working on that.
Yeah.
We want, and this is the funny thing is like we started to offer it to people, one in particular, and they're like, well, now I want to do it on my own. I don't want to be a partner here. I want to go open my own bar. And we're like, cool, how can we support you in that? It's amazing how many people are like, well, now I want to go open a bar. And I'm like, even better, because now you'll do what we're doing here. So we give bonuses at the end of every year based on profits.
Okay, that's cool.
And how long you've been there. So the longer you've been there, the more bonus that you get.
Okay, that's good.
And it's based on a percentage of the profits that we make at the end of the year.
Okay, cool.
So
yeah, because I've thought about it for a long time, and honestly, I think a lot of owners would be the same. Like, profit share is a win-win. Like, you know, it's like, if we make profit,
make me more money.
Like,
I'll give you some more money.
Like, you can have some. Like. And if we make no money, you don't get it.
Yeah.
So like, it's great for me. That's like a no risk scenario.
None.
Because increasing somebody's salary, regardless of revenue, it's horrible.
Our economy is.
Yeah, and it should improve alignment, right? Like, it should be like, hey, we're fighting the same fight. We're both trying to, like, you know, like, you want them to be aligned with you. But I suppose, like, what I'm curious about, because I kind of tried it a little bit, and I wouldn't say it backfired, but it didn't go how I thought it would go. And I think it was mostly because the financial education wasn't there. Like, I tried to include some level of profit bonuses, and not just that, but like extreme transparency, we were calling it at the time. Yeah. I was just like, this is the P&L, this is how much we get, and this is how a P&L works. And I tried to do like financial education basically for all of my staff, and say, look, this is everything, like, you know. And I kind of think it didn't really work how I wanted it to.
Same.
Like, how did it go for you?
So, I mean, it backfired in a way of people not either understanding where those profits were coming from. The other thing is we wanted to offer partnership right off the bat for everyone that stayed after a year. What we realized is that not everyone wants to stay past that. And you can offer profit sharing, but once you bring in more partners and then they leave, now you have 20 people a year that are now a partner in your business that don't work there anymore. Each with a percentage. I mean, let's be honest, that's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to work.
It's not going to happen. So we had to reevaluate those things. That's why we do a profit bonus at the end of every year. Now the GM I was just talking about, we want to make him a partner in the next bar. Which would make him a partner in this bar as well. I think at that level it's a little bit different, but what I wanted to do is I wanted everyone to be a partner in the bar. You know, you have these, that's the thing, is like, you have these grand ideas, like, I want everybody to share, and I want everyone to share in the glory, but then you think about it and you're like, well, what if they leave? What if they decide to change careers? Now I have, you know, 20 people in 5 years that are now partners in a bar that aren't even in the industry, or don't, you know, that actually is just not realistic. So we had to reevaluate how we wanted to do that. And we settled on bonuses based on profit and how long you've been there. So
I think, like, you know, on the partnership side as well, something I've maybe learned fairly recently is when you're talking to people who haven't owned a business before, through no fault of their own, like, when you talk about a percentage, they have in their head like double digits.
Yes.
Like, no, but like, if I give you if I give you 1%, it's a lot. If I give you 1% of the entire business, that's a no, 1%. That's crazy. I was thinking more like 20, and you're like, dude,
that's not even.
If I gave one person 20%, I would never make money.
So
again.
The average bar,
I don't make 20.
I think it's like. If you're making 20% profit, you are insanely, but like, it's like 12 to 8%. Sometimes some bars are surviving off 3% profit. So if you give 3% profit and you give 1% to a bartender, what are the owners actually going to make? And how are you going to pay off any debt? And what are you going to put in the bank for capital if COVID or whatever else happens? There's so many factors. So many things.
And there's also a different mindset to people who took everything that they had, put it into a business, and they've got skin in the game. To someone who's, even if they put like a lot of sweat, and you know, like we call it sweat equity, right? But even if you put a lot of that in, it doesn't feel exactly the same as like, I earned some money and I remortgaged my house. I borrowed a shitload of money from the bank that I'm responsible for. Like, if this all goes wrong, I lose everything.
Also, there's you know, especially in the US, there's a lot of liability that you have to have and insurance and this, that. If everything tanks tomorrow, I'm on the line for a whole lot right now.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of responsibility that I've signed my life away to for this.
Yeah. How do you think we can improve? Maybe you're doing some stuff already. Like this is something I've been thinking about a lot, and I want to do more of it. I would like to do a course on it, even like financial education for bartenders. Basically, I just think it's such a it's the thing that most of them are missing. It's also the thing which most of them are really bad at as well. Yeah,
I was really bad at it.
Yeah.
I was raised. I was never taught financial responsibility. It was like, put it on a credit card, figure it out later, file bankruptcy. I mean, legitimately,
America.
Yeah. Then that was how I was raised. My mom didn't teach me anything about that stuff. I remember when my mom filed bankruptcy, I was 11, and she said, we get to go max out all the credit cards because the government's going to pay them off for us.
Wow.
I remember what I bought. I bought an MTV t-shirt. Now, I remember this distinctly in my brain. So I started in my 20s with a lot of debt and had to climb myself out of it. Huge thing. The first year or two of my bar, the first year, I didn't file taxes for the bar, and I had to learn the hard way and pay back taxes and pay penalties. And now I'm somewhat more of an adult. You know what I mean? I have an accountant and a bookkeeper and all of those things. And like I said, happy accidents. Like, I make mistakes. Like, everyone's like, oh, she did this, and that. Like, I have screwed up so many things. So I don't know if I'm sure it's real similar in the US. Investment companies like Merrill Lynch and things like that, they have people that are full-time available to teach. And if you call, especially if you bank with any of these institutions, and you call your bank and you say, hey, I would like to talk to your financial advisor and have them come in and do a free class for my staff, they will.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You've done it? That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've done it for like community too, for like USPG or like bartender guild meetings and things like that. There are also the best thing I can say is reach out to any financial advisor, any Wall Street person, because what happens is once these bartenders get $5,000 in the bank, that's the person they call to invest, and the financial advisor is smart enough to know that.
Yeah.
The bank is smart enough to know that.
Yeah.
And usually, you know, in the U.S., we have like the Wells Fargos of the world, and then we have your local banks. And your local banks and credit unions are more willing and able to put people in positions because they know that those people are now going to start banking with them. They're going to put even their savings account, which they generate interest on. They hold their money. The banks make money off you putting $100 in there, just as much as, not just as much, but, you know, they want you to bank with them. Yeah. So go to your bank. Tell them you want a financial advisor to come in and do a class with your staff.
Yeah. That's
and it's crazy the resources we don't realize are available.
Yeah, for sure it is, yeah. Because I tried to do it a few times with myself, and I think it went pretty well, but I just think maybe I wasn't the person to deliver it.
I can tell you I am not.
Yeah. Like, not because I'm not clear. I mean, I've been in education for a long time. I think I can deliver it quite clearly, but they're also looking at their boss, and maybe they think that I'm not giving them the most unbiased opinion because I'm also running a business, and so maybe it's better coming from somebody else. But I do think financial education, like bartenders need to be financially educated, and I don't think they have a natural proclivity towards numbers and maths.
They don't. No.
Apart from the fact that they can do math specs, but like they don't.
Math is hard.
Math is hard. And math is hard and boring, but
it is.
It pays the bills.
It does.
Cool. Kate, I think that's everything. Thanks so much. Super appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Cheers.
Yeah, good talk.